with full pay comes amid serious allegations of procurement irregularities at the agency. This includes claims she's aware of a fictitious lease agreement entered into by the pensions administrator and a property developer costing more than 1 billion rand. Nukukanya Mtambo has more.
The concerns about maladministration at the Government Pensions Administration Agency were reportedly brought to Treasury's attention in June, with the agency's audit committee demanding a forensic probe into the matter. Finance Minister Godongwana has now seconded and appointed Treasury's Job Mgomezulu as acting CEO. Godongwana says the precautionary suspension of Kidibone Madiehe does not in any way constitute a judgment of guilt or innocence. He says instead it will allow investigations into the matter to be carried out without prejudicing any of the current employees at GPAA. Godongwana has assured pensioners that all pension services will continue without interruption, that investigations will be conducted promptly and thoroughly, that there will be minimal disruption to GPAA's critical operations, and that the highest standards of governance will be maintained. Nogukanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
The DA says the chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education has rejected its calls to hold Minister Buti Manamela accountable for the latest Seta appointments. Parties have questioned whether Manamela followed the right process when appointing administrators to turn around 3 Setas and have called on him to explain his move. Last week, Manamela appointed the administrators to the Construction Seta, Services Seta and Local Government Seta, respectively. Babalo Ndenze has more.
There are growing calls that Minister Buti Manamela should urgently explain his appointments of administrators to the Setas and whether he consulted with the relevant authority as required by legislation. But DA MP Karabo Khachau says her requests for a meeting have been rebuffed by committee chairperson Tebogo Letsie.
But he has still written to me to reject that Buti must appear before committee together with the National Skills Authority.
But Letsie said earlier that he's asked Manamela to explain whether he followed procedures and informed the Setas of his decision as required by law.
That is why I've written to the minister to explain, so that at least we're on the same page.
He says the committee plans to meet with Manamela on the 12th of September to discuss the matter. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
We move to the courts where the National Prosecuting Authority is looking to consolidate several matters in the case against alleged underworld figure Vusmusi Ket Matlala. He's accused of ordering a 2023 hit on his ex-girlfriend and influencer Tebogo Tobejane. Matlala, alongside his wife and 3 others, face charges including attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder and money laundering. The state in the matter says it will apply to have the case transferred to the Johannesburg High Court. Mungezi Koko has more.
Prosecutors told the court they are moving to centralize 7 separate dockets linked to the group, which are currently scattered across different magistrates' courts in the province. In legal terms, centralization means consolidating all related matters under one court to avoid duplication, streamline disclosure, and allow the trial to be heard by a higher forum. NPA spokesperson Pindim Jonondwane says this move is important for the state's case.
When you have cases emanating from other areas, you must apply for centralization. So we want to combine them into one.
Currently, only Matlala's wife and the daughter of one of the co-accused are out on bail. The rest remain behind bars. Meanwhile, the bail application for Matlala is expected to be heard next Tuesday, while the other 4 accused return in October. Mungezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The latest annual victim crime reports by Statistics South Africa has revealed that June and December remain peak months for house break-ins in the country. Stats SA released its findings this morning, which highlight that house break-ins remain at the top of the list of crimes reported across the country. During the 2024-2025 period, an estimated 2.6 million incidents of house break-ins have been recorded. Statistician General Risenga Maluleke outlined reasons for a spike in the crime over the identified peak periods.
In June, it's because people tend to be sleeping longer, whereas in December, people are out shopping and some criminals may want to take advantage of that.
And Australia has given Iran's ambassador 7 days to leave the country. This comes as the country accuses Iran of anti-Semitic attacks in Sydney and Melbourne on the 20th of October and 6th of December last year. Australia's intelligence agency says investigations show that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps were linked to the criminality. The government says the country's legislators will now seek to list the Islamic Revolutionary as a terrorist organization. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the country will also be cutting off diplomatic relations with Tehran. Gold's trading at $3,371.84 an ounce. The rand's at 17.65 to the dollar, at 23.78 to the pound, at 20.54 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.68 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading into the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road. This is approaching the M2. Also, traffic remains a bit sluggish. This is if you are in the Modderfontein area, Greenstone area, Modderfontein Road, between Greenstone Boulevard and the N3. And also if you're leaving Sandton at this stage, Catherine Street, expect some delays approaching Greyston Drive.
In your sport, Stellenbosch go in search of first Bidway Premiership win of the season. Dane van Niekerk eyes World Cup call-up following her retirement U-turn. And Cadillac confirmed they drive a lineup ahead of their debut Formula One season.
A look at your weather. It's clear skies in Gauteng this afternoon. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 28 and 29 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi has suspended the department's Director General Advocate Dr. Mashabane over delays in setting up the Police Commission of Inquiry.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 26th of August. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you are listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. This may be overstating things, but to my mind, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into serious allegations has now been delayed. And I would say that that means this commission is off to the worst possible start. As you heard on the news earlier, hearings will be delayed because the Justice Department has failed to provide the Commission with the material and logistical support it needs. We'll talk to Khomotso Modise in a moment. She was attending a briefing given by Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi, and we hope to speak to some of the key role players after 5. Some other stories we're covering. Government says it is passing on to the police the names of influencers who encourage young people to seek jobs in Russia. But while some might question the influencers' ethics in promoting something that fell way short of the promises, did they actually do anything illegal? There is actually a difference. Digital law expert Rourke Wilson joins us with his take at 20 past 3. Where will we bury and cremate our loved ones in the future? Where will you find a place of final rest yourself? How will our cities cope with growing demand for cemetery space and cremation services in the years to come? That's the focus of a 3-day conference currently underway. What are they coming up with? We'll talk about this at 10 to 4. And while next year's local government is some months away, plans have been taking shape for a couple of years. What's the state of readiness right now, and what are the challenges that the Independent Electoral Commission expects to stretch them the most? My expectation is the next election, pretty similar to the last one, will be highly combative before, extremely combative during, and that allegations of malfeasance will fly thick and fast as the votes are counted and long after they have been announced. So, how well prepared are they? The IEC's Masego Shiburi joining us with that at 10 to 5. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including Breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. The All-Share down today by around 520 points, despite good gains for Old Mutual, up by 6.2%. DRD Gold is up by 3.6%, Motus by 1.7%. On a generally good day for gold shares, though, Harmony is down by nearly 5%. Also among the losers, Bidvest weaker by 3.37%. The rand is currently trading at 17 rand 65 against the dollar. That's 8 cents weaker than it was this time yesterday. 20.55 against the euro. A pound will cost you 23 rand and 81 cents. That's a loss as well over the last 24 hours of 9 cents. Some good news today, though. A sharp fall in the price of Brent crude, down by $1.01, currently trading at $67.69 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the details at 25 minutes past 4. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga at 22:04. Mike Mulapo back with the latest news headlines. That's at 3:30. And Karabo Chale keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, we will do our level best to bring it to you here first. Usually we manage, but we often, and I say this, that we are delighted as well when we get your help. If you've seen something we do not know about, if you've heard about an angle on a story that we might have missed, please get in touch. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702, and those numbers as well, just for your opinions on the news. I mean, for example, I'm saying I think the Madlanga Commission is off to the worst possible start. Yes, I could let my imagination range and think of things that could be worse, but this is pretty bad for me. I think it's serious. But I'd like your view. Give me a call. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
As always, lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about, including those random thoughts that pop up from all sorts of sources. Conversation amongst the team, things you heard while traveling in a taxi, a conversation overheard in a restaurant, and in this particular instance, something interesting picked up off the internet, which Jonathan Fairburn, Trawler Supreme, has found for us. Good afternoon to you, Kabazela. This to do with people who grew up in houses where money was really, really tight.
Yeah, so afternoon, John, and to the 702 family. So it could be a home where, you know, money wasn't always around. It was a struggle from time to time with money. And now that you have grown up and you have the financial means and you are maybe financially stable, there may be things and psychological things that you still hold on to from that state of mind. So, for example, you may finish everything on a plate because you have a fear of wasting stuff, right? You have a fear of wasting food. So those kinds of examples. So it's like a state of mind that you maybe were accustomed to growing up because money was always tight and certain things were not available as easy as they perhaps could have been. So you now, in your adulthood, you're okay. You got the money, but you still, you know, you might have dealt with a lot of the stuff, but there's maybe one or two things that you hold on to.
Yeah, and keep
so
doing.
Like for me, example, so I didn't grow up in a home where it was really financial struggle, but we did have financial issues. I mean, there was always a chat in the home about finances and, you know, not enough money for this, et cetera, et cetera. So I think in my adult years, I hold on to things for a long time. So like pair of shoes, pair of jeans, T-shirts, golf clubs, golf gloves. I'll use and use and use until it's really done, and then I'll need to get rid of it. You know, whereas maybe some other people, if they've got a golf glove and it's maybe a bit worn, they'll then say, "Okay, I'm done with it." So there's like a little bit of is frugality that the word?
Yeah,
frugality
it is
in
now.
me as well.
Yeah,
and I really struggle sometimes about spending money on myself.
Yeah,
you know, because I always want to have money in the bank that it gives me a comfort to say, okay, I have enough. There's money there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle.
Yeah, well, it's very, very interesting indeed. Karabo Chales, habits that were ingrained when you were younger, still there?
Yeah, coming to think about the clothing part of it, I keep my clothes until the missus says, "Nah, buddy, this is
you're not leaving the house.
This is
Enough
worn
of that
off." Yeah,
shirt.
and then
Yes.
she'll just I'll get home and half of my wardrobe is like empty. So I keep my clothes until they're done. But the one that I'm conscious of, like recently with my boy, I see when he doesn't finish his kaftan and he comes with it there. And his mother will be like, "Okay, we'll throw it away." I'm like, no. Put it in the fridge. He'll finish it later, or maybe when he's having a cup of tea or a snack. But we're not throwing food away. Even when you are having supper and you don't finish your food, sometimes I'll just go to the bin and just chuck it. I'm like, whoa. Can't we just, maybe you'll be hungry later on in the evening. Maybe you'll finish it off later. No throwing away your food. It's a big no-no in my house.
Throw it away a week later because it's still in the scuffed in the fridge.
Well,
might as well, yes, at least.
A week later, it'll probably walk to the bin of its own accord, but that's a different matter. Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a couple. I don't know where this is from, but I can't waste paper. So even when I'm using already the clean side of a printed sheet of paper, I'll never throw that piece away until I've filled it. And I often keep a whole lot of different, like half a page, a quarter of a page, and fill all those bits.
Yeah.
No idea why I do that, but I do. I keep slivers of soap and repurpose them and attach them to new bars of soap. Who knows why?
So you got a green one, a white one, a pink one?
No, I mean I only ever use the same soap, so it's
the same color. Yeah,
squash it all together was, great for the triceps actually. Give us a call, please, on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. A time when money was too tight to mention, as the song goes. Maybe things are a little bit better for you, but habits, beliefs, maybe, and even values. None of this has to be odd. It could be something you believe quite passionately, inculcated in you from different times in your life. But a story, please. I bet you got a good one. 072 702 1702. It's 20 minutes past 3. Let's find out what's happening on the roads.
Well, John, at this stage, if you're in the Greenstone area, traffic remains heavily backed up. This is on Waterfontein Road between the N3 and Greenstone Boulevard. Pretty unusual at this time of the afternoon. So if you're on that route off the N3 heading into Kempton Park using Waterfontein Road, what's causing those delays? Please let me know. You can WhatsApp me on 072 702 1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. Also leaving Midrand, heading into the Sandton area. It looks like there's an accident scene there on the N1 southbound. This is at the Baklu interchange, N1 southbound Baklu interchange accident scene. This is causing heavy delays all the way from Allendale Road. Avoid that route if you can. Rather use Old Pretoria Road or the R55 as alternatives. Otherwise, it still remains pretty quiet across the rest of 702 land. Just look out for those roadworks though in the Devland area heading into Aldo's. Roadworks causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 3:30.
When you vote in Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko, you don't just support a business, you help rewrite its future.
Gauteng's greatest, powered by Yoko, impacted our business in a very positive way. We've had a lot more feed coming through the restaurant. It's given us a lot more traction in the market, and we've seen a lot more new faces. As Grumpy's Cafe, I would encourage people to go on to Prime Media Plus and vote for their favorite establishment.
How it impacted my business, I think, is mostly through increased awareness of my brand. I think it expanded our reach a bit. And I think the biggest thing that I felt was just a kind of a buzz and an energy in the shop. I love books. We would encourage you to cast your vote at Prime Media Plus.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Your vote is more than a click. It could be a game changer for your favorite local business. Vote now on primemediaplus.com.
Every pothole, power cut or burst pipe tells a story of frustration. But how that story ends up is up to you. Fix Local helps you report local issues, escalate them, or as a last resort, fix them yourself, safely and legally. It empowers you with tools to work with or hold local government to account so you can build the neighborhood you deserve. Visit fixlocal.org.za to take up issues in your area. 702 supports Fix Local. Let's walk the talk and fix local together.
Joburg gets ready to paint the town purple. The Hollywood Bets 10-kilometer race is back. Bigger, bolder, and bursting with energy. Whether you're running for fun or just love the vibe, this is your race. Join thousands as we take over the streets in true purple style. Tickets are available now on web tickets, so make sure you grab your spots at the starting line. And listen up, KZN is 100% sold out. Joburg, it's your turn to shine. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0170.
Are you living with diabetes? Tired of painful fingerstick tests? Introducing a new continuous glucose monitoring system from Abbott Laboratories. The Freestyle Libre 2 system sends glucose readings straight to your compatible smartphone. With minute-by-minute glucose readings, optional glucose alarms, and excellent accuracy, the Freestyle Libre system is here to support you in the management of your diabetes. For more information and where to buy your Freestyle Libre 2 sensor, visit www.freestylelibre.za.com. Now available at your local pharmacy.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
From your vantage point, right in the sort of middle of the industry, how worried are you about what's going on here? I mean, do you know what is going on here?
To be honest with you, we're not worried. We're used to this, unfortunately, is what I can say. The tourism industry leadership being kind of up and down and left and right.
Mark Waxberger, CEO at Capital Hotels and Apartments.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by APSA CIB, proud sponsor of the SARA Rail Conference 2025. Your story matters. APSA is a registered FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 24 minutes past 3. Let's focus on this now. We understand that government is going to be handing over names of some of the influencers who encouraged some young South Africans to take part in something called the Alabuga Start program. They were expecting certain kinds of conditions. Great opportunity it was. I think it's fair to say a pretty hard sell. However, what they're looking at, if they take up those offers, is long hours, no freedom of movement, and they will be working in jobs that were certainly not the jobs that they were promised. So names of these influencers handed over to law enforcement. The big question, though, is whether you have a view on the ethics of what these influencers did. Did they do anything illegal? Well, let's talk to somebody who knows a great deal about law in the digital era and in the digital space. Rourke Wilson is an expert in this with the Digital Law Company. Mr. Wilson, welcome and thanks very much for your time. How much responsibility do influencers bear in establishing the veracity of and quality of something that they agree to accept money to promote?
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. And honestly, that all depends, especially in this case, about how much they did know about that. And we were involved in a long discussion in the office today about where the line should lie, because frankly, where it stands right now, legally, we're left with a big question mark as to how much responsibility these influencers have. And right now, so far as we're aware, it depends on how much these influencers knew. And in some of the cases, it appears that the influencers were reporting directly, were creating videos at this facility where these people are now allegedly trapped. So it all depends on how much they knew. So if it's the case of these people that did go to these centers in order to film it, then I think there's a good chance that they may have committed crimes. especially if they misrepresented knowledge that they had themselves.
So that would be a hard thing to prove, I would think, because they will say, well, listen, we didn't know there was behind the hotel around of which we were given an extensive tour that there were barrack-like rooms. I mean, in a way, are we not dealing with, I hate to use the word monster, but let me use a different one. We are dealing with what we as a society have created, where we rely on other people who have attached to themselves glamour masquerading as wisdom and insight to guide us on the life choices we make. I don't mean to dismiss its importance, but I'm struggling to see it in a court.
No, absolutely. And what we've hit on here, I think, is a way that the advertising ecosystem has changed, which means now that there's an entire area where, there could be a blind spot. I mean, traditionally, when we have people advertising, we kind of assume that it's the business doing that all themselves. They're the ones getting the billboards, maybe assisted by an agency. But at the end of the day, it's them who are marketing the product and them who have the responsibility to market effectively. But if we have cases like this now, where we have an entire market of people whose job is to advertise on behalf of others, how much responsibility should they hold for things that they are selling? And we do have, things like medical products and medical medicine, where we do have frameworks protecting that. But when it comes to your average thing, we're going to have to rely on common law principles of negligence and things like that here. And then it becomes very difficult to prove what an influencer should have known. Now, I'm not entirely sure when these influencers were making these posts, but I do think that, if they were making this towards the end of last year and they did a quick Google of this company, they would have seen many other reports, one by Associated Press last year in July, reporting on the dodgy practices of Alabuga. So, I mean, there could be a case to be made that just a search of that could give them all the information that they need to know not to advertise this. But right now, where we're standing, in terms of what liability these influencers have, we've got a big gray zone. Even the advertising regulation board, which has Appendix K which governs influencer marketing, in all of the decisions we could find, even where influencers were the ones that broke the rules, it was the advertiser that was held responsible. And in the case of Alabuga, they're not a member of the advertising regulatory board. They're not going to be beholden to any South African institutions in that way.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we often look to the courts to resolve things that maybe we need to resolve in other ways. Public pressure might be one, frameworks of regulation, but I don't know if these influencers did much worse than financial advisors who said, buy Steinhoff in September 2017. I mean, there must be a huge range of stuff that is unknowable, and I would suspect that might be their defense.
No, absolutely. And there actually was a similar case with African Bank, where they paid influencers to advertise festive season loans. And one influencer said in their post, "Oh, this isn't a debt, this is an investment, Chomi." But even in that case, it wasn't the influencer that was held responsible. It was African Bank who was fined because it was held that they should have been checking these posts before they went out. Yeah. And while that's analogous, it won't really apply to an international company.
Yeah, fascinating.
And I think the main takeaway people should really take from this is be suspicious of what happens online, no matter how many followers someone has, no matter who it is, what they're saying, how convincing it is. If it's too good to be true, especially with international employment, it likely is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Rourke Wilson, digital law expert at the Digital Law Company. Give us your view on this. I mean, I'm not for a minute suggesting that the influencers involved get a clean bill of health, but I am a little bit concerned that there is something possibly a little bit performative about saying, well, we're going to hand over all these names to the police, because surely the key thing about responding effectively is doing something that has a reasonable chance of success. And if the chances of anything happening either in the prosecutorial system or in a court of law, and I would suspect you ought to at least ask the question, that this is not going to make any kind of material difference, then maybe energy should go into something else. But those are my views. What are yours? Give us a call. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 28 minutes to 4. Maki Molapo standing by with the latest news.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The EFF is calling on retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga to distance himself from the SAPS Commission of Inquiry, calling it tainted. Earlier today, the Madlanga Commission announced that it will not be beginning its work on the 1st of September as scheduled due to procurement issues. Last month, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made allegations of criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system, leading to the establishment of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Today, the Commission has blamed the Justice Department for failing to procure vital infrastructure within the agreed-upon deadline. EFF National Spokesperson Snawo Tambo says this is yet another deliberate ploy by government to stifle accountability from people who have been implicated in high-level corruption within the security cluster.
We therefore urge Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga to request that he steps aside from this disgraced and fake process, which will taint his legacy in the legal profession. It is clear that he is being used as a pawn in a process that seeks to undermine the frustrations of South Africans with crime.
Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie has dismissed suggestions that he runs an autocratic party, saying he's empowering people to take over the reins from him. With no elected structures in the party, McKenzie says he's being directed by communities as to who should represent the party in governance structures. In a wide-ranging weekly message to supporters last night, McKenzie once again expressed disdain for the country's media, claiming unfair bias against the Patriotic Alliance. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Gayton McKenzie says it's a fact that his party is the fastest growing in South Africa. Last week, his party narrowly lost a by-election to the ANC in Knysna by a mere 31 votes. McKenzie says while his party is on the up, it's the media who's hell-bent on bringing him down.
The SAP is a dictatorship. How can this be a dictatorship if you tell us who do you want to lead in your area?
Instead, McKenzie has taken a swipe at his political nemesis, the Democratic Alliance, for how it selects its leaders.
The day you'll write exams like you're back at school again. Here, the community tell us, President, this is our mayoral candidate, this is our councillor. Where have you seen a party like that?
During the month of September, McKenzie says he's instructed his party's recruiters to not only sign up new members, but to ensure they are registered with the Electoral Commission, as he sets his sights on growing support in the Western Cape in particular. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The Independent Electoral Commission says South Africans have shown mixed views on a proposal to introduce electronic voting. The Commission has been holding public consultations across the country to gauge whether voters would accept casting their ballots electronically. The introduction of e-voting was among several matters discussed at a media briefing in Centurion today, and Alpha Ramushana was there.
During last year's national and provincial elections, the IEC encountered various challenges with the traditional voting method, mainly due to technical glitches from voter management devices. The issue resulted in long queues at multiple voting stations, and in some cases, voters were still waiting to cast their ballots past midnight on election day. It's believed that electronic voting could help address these problems. However, IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer Masiho Shiburi says it's currently unclear whether voters are ready for the move.
The feedback has been mixed, which illustrates the varied understanding of what e-voting is and what it is that it can do for elections.
He says the IEC has now ruled out the possibility of introducing e-voting at next year's local government elections. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Centurion.
And the Constitutional Court has denied the family of Zambian former President Edgar Lungu leave to appeal in the battle to determine where his remains should be buried. The family approached the Apex Court after the High Court ruled in the Zambian government's favour, ordering that Lungu's remains be repatriated back to Lusaka. The family is adamant to have him laid to rest in South Africa to avoid the involvement of the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, in the funeral. Lungu died in June while receiving medical attention in Johannesburg. A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng. Tomorrow, temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 9 and 15 degrees and peak at highs between 26 and 29 degrees.
Greenstone traffic heavily backed up on Modderfontein Road between the N3 and Greenstone Boulevard due to ongoing roadworks. While if you're leaving Sandton this afternoon, traffic pressure on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and Catherine, and in Devlin, roadworks causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue.
The top story in Eyewitness News. The EFF is calling on retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga to distance himself from the SAPS Commission of Inquiry, calling it tainted.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Yes, you're right. The talent is there, but is the environment conducive for the talent to come in?
What I'm talking about is the board of the Republic of South Africa. The board of directors of the Republic of South Africa is Parliament. It is from that 400 that we have to choose those who will occupy executive positions, including the president. And South Africans need to decide, I want a different quality board. Right now, I am sorry to say, South Africa does not select its best to govern it. We've got to be frank about this. You can't ask a donkey to run the Durban July. It will not win. And that's what South Africans continually do.
Songo Zosibi, the leader of Rise Mzansi.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Mzansi, get ready to panda, pusher, play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 76 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right, play Powerball for an estimated 31 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 45 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older, so play responsibly. Itube is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
My friend always says, not my problem, bro. But what if it was your sister, your mother, your daughter? Gender-based violence is everyone's problem. And good men don't look away. If you see abuse, don't be silent. Report it. Call the SA Police on 10111 or the GBVF Command Center on 0800 428 428. Strong men protect. Strong women stand up. Together, we can end gender-based violence and femicide. Break the vicious cycle. Act now. A message from Government Communications, the GCIS.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
They opened their doors before sunrise, stayed up late, showed up. Now they've made it to the finals of Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko because of you. But they're not done yet. Your vote that could make them Gauteng's greatest. Go to primemediaplus.com now to cast it. Because support isn't just spoken, it's action. And your vote is a standing ovation for the Corner Cafe with the big dreams, the local legend who never gave up, the startup that's changing the game. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to Yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good day, John. I recycle everything. If there is leftover food, I'll put it in a bowl. I know there's someone that I can give it to. If it's old clothes or towels, no matter what it is, I always feel that there will be someone that will need it. Of course, when it's overly tattered, I discard, but I recycle everything. Nothing goes to waste where I put my hands on. Thank you.
With me, it's bar soap.
I could never waste bar soap in my life. Like each and every time it is about to end, I will mix it up with a new one. Get it soft enough to actually mix it up with a new one. Yeah, that's my story. Cheers.
Hi, John, and the listeners. I'd like to reiterate what Kabazela said about, when you grow up in a poor home, the one thing that's for some reason you struggle to buy yourself clothes. It's the same. I've noticed the same with my siblings as well. Is that I don't know the reasoning behind it, but if you grew up poor, you don't buy yourself clothes. You wear jeans until they start having holes in them, t-shirts. Yeah, it's such a weird thing, and I don't understand the logic behind it. But I still, to this day, struggle to buy myself clothes, even though that I'm no longer in that financial place I was anymore.
Thanks for those. I mean, the question we asked a little bit earlier, if you've just joined us, was, if you grew up in a family under circumstances where money was really tight, and you've moved now later into life, perhaps got some good jobs or have one currently where things are easier. Nevertheless, people are sharing with us habits they've kept, things that they can't easily change, that they learned when they were younger in those tighter circumstances. And the point I made a little bit earlier is they could be kind of quirks, you could regard them as that, or you might see them as values. No, actually, I learned good values, as is conveyed in this WhatsApp message. I'm not sure who it's from. It says Nelson and Nelly. Okay, whoever it's from, thank you. It says, I mostly avoid impulse purchases until this day. Though the 15 years of my life, I was raised perfectly. My mother never had impulse purchases, and what she did has always stayed with me, suggesting that not just a habit, but a value shared and a value accepted. So call us for those, please. We'd love to hear from you on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Some of you are also commenting on the big stories of the day. Raymond responding to whether influencers who promoted those in quote marks work opportunities in Russia should be prosecuted. Raymond says it's really stupid to be taking advice from someone who has never done anything just because they look attractive, and then goes on to talk about arrests, not of the influencers but of the people who listened, and says they should be arrested for being dumb. Raymond, strong views on that one. What are yours? 011 883 0702 072 702 1702.
EWN Sport.
Games coming quite thick at the top level of South African football. Round 4 of the Betway Premiership this evening. Tolakele Mganga with the details. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And 5 games are scheduled, including Stellenbosch up against Marumo Gallants. Stellies are still looking for their first league win of the season, but Steve Barker's Chargers are on a high, having reached the final of the MTN 8.
Yeah, I think it gives us a lot of confidence, having achieved what we have and making another final. So that confidence needs to transfer to our league performances. So yeah, there's a lot of bubbliness around the team. There's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. Just now we need to transfer that into the 90 minutes tomorrow evening.
16-year-old Rion Gumoha has made history as the youngest scorer in Liverpool's history. That's when he netted the winner in the Reds' 3-2 win over Newcastle United. For Eddie Howe, he feels that if one-away forward Alexander Isak was available, they'd have a better chance of winning the game.
The quality of Alex, I think he would have made a difference in the 2 games. I don't think there's any denying that. But that said, the team's functioned really well, and I think the performance of the players and the team in the 2 games doesn't happen without every part of the team functioning well. You can't carry anyone in this division against any opponent. So yes, we maybe today in that first half needed to score when we were on top, and goals do change games as always.
Former Proteas captain Dane van Niekerk has come out of retirement ahead of the World Cup in India that starts next month. She hasn't played an international match in 4 years, but is currently in camp with the team ahead of their final squad announcement. Van Niekerk retired in 2023 after she was left out of the squad for the T20 World Cup due to fitness issues.
Yeah, obviously very excited. As I mentioned, there's a lot of conversations around everything. It wasn't just a split decision. It's also not, it didn't come in a week. It's been months of really connecting with the coach and with CSA again. So, and also just thankful for the openness from both parties, where we could actually just speak and really just let everything go.
At the US Open, Venus Williams, Victoria Mboko and Petra Kvitova are out of the Grand Slam after first-round losses, while Australian Open champion Madison Keys also suffered a shock defeat. There were wins for Lloyd Harris, Carlos Alcaraz and Casper Ruud, while selected names in action today include Stefanos Tsitsipas, Iga Swiatek and Ekaterina Alexandrova. And Cadillac have confirmed their driver lineup for next season, which will feature Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. The pair will be making a return in 2026 after being dropped this year, with the American outfit set to become Formula One's 11th team on the grid. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's get ourselves out onto the road now and find out what's happening there. Greenstone Mall. Troublesome earlier. How's it looking now?
Yes, we've been receiving WhatsApp messages regarding that issue. I understand from those messages there's roadworks causing heavy delays. That's in the Greenstone area on Modderfontein Road between the N3 and Greenstone Boulevard, so avoid that route if you can. Also leaving Santon traffic pressure on Grayston Drive between Rivonia Road and Catherine. Driving through Melrose, Santon, heading towards Midrand, traffic congested on the M1 northbound from Athol Oaklands all the way to the Patlu interchange. Midrand also accident scene N1 south near the Patlu interchange, causing heavy delays all the way from New Road, so rather use the R55 as an alternative. There's also slow moving traffic in the Waterfall area. That's Waterfall Drive between Allendale and the R55. In the south, roadworks still causing heavy delays in Devland. That's traveling towards Eldorado Park on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue, and Protea Glen bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. It's coming up now for 12 minutes to 4. Still to come. Currently underway in Johannesburg, the South African Cemeteries and Crematoria Association National Conference. Day 2 today. We'll be talking to the chair of that organization, Pepe Das. Lots and lots of questions to ask, including the fact that so many cemeteries in the Gauteng area, for example, appear to be running out of space. Many issues to cover. We'll do as much as we can. Pepe Das with us shortly. But before that, let's just get a thought from Tholakele about the question we're asking. If when you were growing up, money was tight and certain habits were entrenched, which are the ones you've held on to? Even though perhaps you're doing a little bit better now. Few of the listeners have been responding to this on our Facebook page. And by the way, please remember you can follow us on YouTube as well. We're getting some comments there, I hope, is a little bit later. Sandile says, cutting an onion in half and keeping the other half for future use. Marion, don't buy takeaway food. It's a habit I've kept from tough times. It saves me so much. Kim is philosophical and says, life is abundant. Don't worry. Kay says, I still only buy on red tags. And Fuego says, I'm still getting Christmas clothes even as an adult. A couple of people saying, don't eat unless you are hungry. That's Mutlu Khalwa and Titi offering that advice. Tholakele, habits that you've hung on to that maybe you actually quite enjoy?
I think for me, recycling clothes. I don't mind when like family members are like, oh, I have an old skirt or something that's just been sitting in my closet for a few years.
Yes.
It's not a big deal for me where I'm like, oh, it's been pre-worn. Even with my cousins and nieces, I still am like, okay, I have these clothes, would be something you're interested in. I always feel like it's a way for you to always remember that family member long after they've passed, and it can just be passed down generation by generation. So it's something cute that I've always kept. And I always think sometimes those fashion styles come back. It sits in your closet for like 5 years and then you go to the shop and you're like, how? I have this similar thing.
Yes.
And I'm not about to spend like 400 Rand buying something that I technically got for free.
And tell me, leftovers?
No. I'm also, as I've grown up, I realize I'm very much a picky eater.
Yes.
And if something is in the fridge longer than like the night, I can't eat it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Karabo.
Longer than the night.
But also, John, it comes from the fact now that I live alone.
Yes.
I can't just, because I also make sure that the food that I am cooking is just enough for me.
Okay.
So if it stays too long, I'm just like, my sister, please take yourself seriously.
Yeah, you're lucky you don't live with Mr. Charlie here, because he'll be saying, whoa, hey.
Oh, pace.
Come back in the fridge. It's in your scuff tin for tomorrow until you finish it. And the next day. 702 Drive. Keep calling us with those stories. Your comments as well on the big issues of the day. Clearly, that postponement of the hearings of the Madlanga Commission is something that's got a lot of people concerned and a lot of people commenting. We will, by the way, after 5 o'clock, talk to Advocate Paul Ptorius, who played, as I'm sure you know, a very central role in the Zondo Commission, and will have a very, very clear sense, I'm sure, of what that logistical support actually consists of and why it's so important. So that interview coming away just after 5 o'clock. It's now 8 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, as I mentioned, a very important conference underway right now in Johannesburg. It's a conference that's looking at the future of burial space, cremation, cemetery management, and many of the questions that we will all be faced with, and many of you, I think, already have been. The availability of cemetery space, of cremation services, and all the other issues that surround that at a time when some of these services and spaces are under significant challenge. The conference is hosted or is organized by the South African Cemeteries and Crematoria Association. It's their national gathering. Second day today, one more day tomorrow. But to look back on some of the conversations and crucially canvass some of the issues, we welcome to the show Pepe Das, who is chairperson of the SA Cemeteries Association. Very good afternoon to you, Pepe Das, and thanks so much for giving us your time. If we focus on the city of Johannesburg, we have 42 cemeteries here, as I understand from some notes that your team sent us in advance. Only 4 of them are actually available for new burials. What's happening? I mean, are there plans taking shape and crucially being put into practice to make more space available, or are we staring a crisis in the face?
Oh, okay. Hi, John. Thank you for inviting me onto your talk show. I think, look, you're asking me specific questions regarding the city of Joburg.
Right.
And I think it'll be unfair, I think, upfront for me to specifically speak about the city of Joburg, because I'm not its representative.
Right.
But
the broader picture, then, please.
Yeah. But okay, the broader picture with even Joburg is what you've just stated is correct. I mean, there are serious challenges, and Joburg has tried to meet these challenges, by putting out information to its citizens that resources are limited, and one has to adapt to that challenge. And they have done that by reutilizing the old cemeteries, where they're encouraging families to reuse graves. It was very interesting. You guys are talking about recycling clothes just now.
Yes.
Here's another bin. But I mean, basically, the whole world should be moving towards sustainability. Our existence on this planet should be about sustainability. How do we best use resources, without bringing more damage to the planet?
Yeah.
Understand, every time we establish a cemetery, just because we want to keep a traditional practice in place, it has a huge impact on the environment. You are basically destroying the biodiversity that exists on the surface of the ground, besides impacting on probably groundwater sources, also in terms of financial sustainability. When you have these massive cemeteries, you're going to have the budget to manage those. And in the long term, it doesn't become sustainable when you look at the broader picture that everybody that lives is going to die, and traditional burial practices of a body in a grave will not sustain the living population.
So,
because you're going to be throwing money into something like so, you're going to have to adapt to the resources you have, find a sort of a compromise position in terms of how do you retain your cultural, traditional value systems, to meeting the challenges that limited resources are, that are posing.
So what kind of ideas are coming up at the conference? I mean, you are. I barely need to tell you that you're trading in a very or engaging, shall I rather say, in a very, very sensitive space, because people are often engaging with this issue at a time of grief and so on. Conversations around death have a degree of discomfort at the best of times. But what are some of the creative ideas coming up?
Okay, look, I think I'm going to answer it in this way. It's a case of understanding that there are these limitations. There are these environmental concerns. And when I'm talking about limitations, not just environment, but financial and administrative, et cetera, et cetera. So what does one do? How does one approach this? And as much as it's sensitive, the best way to get this off the ground is to deal with the emotional onslaught that will come through, but to deal with it with some courage.
Yes.
Engage in that conversation. Bring it out. People don't want to talk about these things, but bring it out. Get people to talk about it, because you find that when there's understanding, then there's possibly the ability to adapt and to change, because there's understanding. So that's the role that we play as the South African Cemeteries Association. We try and create a platform for this conversation to take place. We are ideally positioned to do this because we don't have any political affiliation. We're a non-profit and we're autonomous. And we are just constituted purely on the basis of freedom of association of like-minded people. And there's the interesting thing. We are made up of administrators, public administrators from around the country. Or some of us are now retired, but we still have an interest in this.
Right.
That could see the broader picture, could see down the road that this is what's going to happen, and somebody has to do something about this.
Thank you so much, Pepe Das, chairperson of the SA Cemeteries Association. Serious issues there to consider and contemplate. Maybe this is something you and your family have been confronted with. Lack of space in a place where you would like to bury family members or close friends, or maybe you're starting to think about your own ideas and thoughts and what arrangements you would want to make when you lay to rest. So give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango. Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight. I was listening to the news and certain authorities in Parliament talking about Operation Dudula. We also agree that it is not a desirable, neither is it a thing that we should encourage, that people should be taking the law into their own hands. I argue if government was doing their job in terms of looking after our borders in the correct way, we wouldn't have to deal with all of these different issues, as they enjoy life on the backs of the poor. And once again, I look to our political elite and I say, shame on you, you treacherous traitors.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is here. Experience unbeatable vibes this Heritage Weekend at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit on the 20th and 21st of September. On Saturday the 20th, catch Don Toliver, Questa, Inkabi Zizwe and more. Then on Sunday 21, don't miss the iconic Lauryn Hill on her 25th anniversary tour with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG Marley and Zion Marley, with Lyra Mandisi Janchis and Zoe Modicha also performing on the Sunday. Tickets at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702.
Naked people are great dancers. They can break it down to anything from soki to amapiano. That's because naked people get car and home insurance online in seconds, which means less time wasted on insurance admin and more time working on their whip and their nene for maximum wedding dance floor domination. Go to naked.insure now, get a quote in 90 seconds, and get naked, people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 litre 6-pack Spar Long Life, full cream, low fat or fat-free milk, excluding lactose-free, for $89.99 with Spar Rewards, or 900-gram original Bacoma Wheat Bix for $49.99. Save 15 Rand with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 7 September 2025, while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, brings the spirit of Ubuntu to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from the 29th to the 31st of August. Experience thrilling track drives, 4x4 adventures, drifting, supercar hot laps, and F1 demos. Get your tickets on Howler and use the promo code RADIO for a special discount. The Festival of Motoring, the power of new.
This is EWN.
Police inquiry off to a rocky start, and PA and EFF at loggerheads over Joburg Transport Post. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi has suspended the department's Director General Advocate Dr. Mashabane over delays in setting up the Police Commission of Inquiry. Kubayi briefed the media this afternoon following a statement from the Commission earlier today announcing that it will not begin its hearings on Monday as planned, placing the blame squarely on the department. The Commission was set up to investigate explosive allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi last month. Today, Kubayi has announced the suspension of both Lishabani and the Deputy Director General for ICT for failing to procure the vital equipment. Khomotso Modise has more.
Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi says when she became aware that they would not meet the deadline to start the Madlaga Commission of Inquiry on Monday as planned, she reported it to President Cyril Ramaphosa.
On Friday, as I did the report, I had immediately put the DDG responsible for ICT, Mr. Jabu Tlachwayo, on immediate suspension, pending a full investigation and a disciplinary process.
Kubayi says the president then gave her power to suspend the department's Director General, Advocate Dr. Mashabane. Kubayi says further intervention in the planning of the Commission of Inquiry would have resulted in a violation of procurement and supply chain processes, but she concedes that certain issues could have been avoided by the administrators in the department. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The ANC has rejected with contempt allegations by some of its GNU partners that it has hijacked the national dialogue process. The DA and Freedom Front Plus are two parties in the Government of National Unity that have announced they won't participate in the national dialogue, calling the process an ANC political stunt. That sentiment has also been shared by parties and other organizations outside the GNU who are also boycotting the upcoming dialogues. Speaking at a media briefing this afternoon, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the party remains an ordinary participant in the dialogue.
It provides an inclusive platform to break structural bottlenecks that have hindered transformation and development. Attempts to mischaracterize the dialogue as an ANC public relations exercise are rejected with the contempt it deserves.
Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie has rubbished suggestions that the delays in appointing a new Transport Mayoral Committee member in the city of Johannesburg is over disagreement that the party's Liam Jacobs takes up the seat. Instead, McKenzie laid the blame squarely on the economic freedom fighters, whom he says wants the portfolio for itself. Mayor Dada Morero is yet to announce a replacement for the PA's Deputy President Kenny Kunene, following his resignation as a councillor last month after being embroiled in the scene of a police arrest. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
While EWN understands there are some disgruntled Patriotic Alliance councillors who feel overlooked for a seat on the mayoral committee, party leader Gayton McKenzie is sticking by his choice that former MP and party newcomer Liam Jacobs takes charge of the transport portfolio. While Mayor Dada Morero has dismissed suggestions that he's hesitant to appoint a 24-year-old with no municipal experience to the job, McKenzie says it's the EFF that's holding up an announcement.
This has nothing to do with they don't want Liam or something like that. It has got everything to do with the EFF wanted our position and they wanted to give us their position.
It's understood the EFF wants its MMC for public safety, Mqini Chwaku, to be moved to the transport portfolio.
The ANC has sent us and asked us if do we want to change and give EFF the position. We said no.
The EFF has not been reachable for comment. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
We move to the Western Cape courts where alleged underworld gang boss Jerome Boyson's lawyer today attempted to discredit a crime intelligence colonel presenting evidence for the state in the Western Cape High Court. Boyson and 11 others are on trial for the murder of steroid dealer Brian Weinstein, who was shot dead in his Constantia home in 2017. Legal teams are arguing for the court to decide whether cell phone recordings intercepted from Boyson's phone can be used as evidence against him. Carla Peterson has more.
Alleged underworld gang boss Jerome Boyson's lawyer, Advocate Amanda Nall, today questioned the authority of a crime intelligence colonel. During cross-examination, Nall argued the colonel was not authorized to grant the Hawks permission to tap Boyson's phone during an investigation in 2015. Nall also questioned the colonel about whether he was given the names of the officers who would have access to the recordings after he authorized the interception.
I can also go further and say it's not about his position and him not having authority. It's going to go on the distribution to either the applicant, the IO, or the person authorized.
Nall is set to continue a cross-examination when the trial resumes tomorrow. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The Electoral Commission has started talks with Cooperative Governance Minister Velengosini Hlabisa to finalize a date for the upcoming local government elections. The 5-year term of municipal councils is set to expire in November next year, with elections expected to take place shortly after. The law requires that new local government elections be held within 90 days after the term ends. Outlining the IEC's ongoing preparations for the upcoming local government elections, Chief Electoral Officer Sama Mabolo confirmed the municipal polls must be conducted no later than the 27th of January 2027.
The general elections of municipal council fall due between 2 November 2026 and the end of January 2027. The authority to set a date and call an election lies with the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, following consultation with the Commission. Consultations between the Minister and the Commission have commenced, but yet to be concluded.
And the United Nations says more than 2 billion people worldwide still lack access to safely managed drinking water, warning that progress towards universal coverage is moving nowhere near quickly enough. The UN's health and children's agencies say a full 1 in 4 people globally are without access to safely managed drinking water last year, with over 100 million people remaining reliant on drinking surface water, for example from rivers, ponds and canals. In a joint study, the World Health Organization and UNICEF say that the world remains far off track to reach a target of achieving universal coverage of such services by 2030. Gold's trading at $3,373.90 an ounce. The rand's at 17.64 to the dollar, at 23.79 to the pound, at 20.56 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.91 a barrel.
Greenstone traffic heavily backed up on Modderfontein Road. That's between the N3 and Greenstone Boulevard due to ongoing roadworks. If you are leaving the Melrose Santon area, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Butlu interchange, and in Waterfall there's traffic pressure on Waterfall Drive between Ellendale and the R55.
In your sport, Stellenbosch go in search of first Bidway Premiership win of the season. Dane van Niekerk eyes World Cup call-up following her retirement U-turn, and Cadillac confirmed they drive a lineup ahead of their debut Formula One season.
A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 9 degrees and peak at highs of 29. Pretoria is at 15 and 26. Vereeniging is at 11, also reaching highs of 29 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi has suspended the department's Director General Advocate Dr. Mashabane over delays in setting up the Police Commission of Inquiry.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
11 minutes past 4 on 702 Drive. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you with us. Are you involved in the school system? Maybe a teacher, maybe you sit on a school governing body, parents or adults involved in the education of learners. Are you concerned sometimes that some of the battles that go on in schools are too fierce and completely out of proportion with the issues concerned? Well, that's a question that has been raised in a very interesting way by the executive head of St. Benedict's College. He wrote a letter to parents saying that sometimes the way in which teachers are treated suggests they've become soft targets for pent-up rage. His words, suggesting that people are getting angry with teachers when in fact what they're really angry about is potholes and the state of water provision in the cities where we live. In other words, that it is completely out of proportion. We'll chat to Andre Oosthuizen shortly, but in the meanwhile, I'd like to get your views. Maybe you're involved with the school in one of those many ways that I've just outlined, where fights have got completely out of proportion and intense and bitter to a degree not justified or understandable by the issue that prompted the quarrel in the first place. Or maybe you think, yeah, we pay plenty to put our kids through schools. We are going to be tough if we need to be tough. Either way, give us your thoughts on that on 072 702 1702. I must just say I was struck by something in the news bulletin that Maki Molapo has just delivered. She's back at 4:30 with updates and news headlines. But Lindsay Dentker's story about the row going on between the Patriotic Alliance and the ANC seems to be involved, and the EFF is involved as well as to who should be the transport MMC in the city of Johannesburg. Now, I know that Lindsay was giving a summary of the debates, and I've read a little bit about it, and I've followed these debates in previous iterations of quarrels and battles and arm wrestles over who should get what position. I did not hear in any of the conversation or in any previous conversation, I think that John Perlman should get the position or Karabo Chale should be the MMC or whoever it is, because they are really good. They'd be really good at this. They are the best person for the job. Is this even in the conversation? Karabo, if he won't mind me saying so, he can't deny it because he's on YouTube. He's shaking his head and giving me a look that says, sorry, where have you been living for a while? But I think at the absence of this in the conversation, I could be really, really good as MMC for transport. Does this have no place in, never mind coalition politics at all? Quite extraordinary. As if these are private properties to be traded amongst people on some kind of political stock exchange. They are publicly funded positions, dare I say, by way of a reminder. Anyway, that's the impression I get. If you're in any way connected to the running of the city of Johannesburg, you might be able to shed some light on this. Is there any conversation about excellence and ability and effectiveness at all in these discussions? I'd love to believe there is. I'm terrified it isn't. And the evidence certainly for me seems to stack up towards the latter conclusion. But your view, please give us a call. 14 minutes past 4. Habits that you might have developed when you were living through tough financial times as a young person that you've brought into your life, even if you might be doing better. This is what some of you had to say.
702. WhatsApp John
On 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and the afternoon team. Something that I hold on to till this day is reusing my frying oil. It's something that my mother did, and it's something that I do now. When I make fat cake, instead of using flour to roll out, I just use the oil, normal oil, clean oil, obviously, to roll it out. That way the oil stays clean. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. By the way, the other thing that is prompting conversation is our conversation earlier with the chair of the SA Cemeteries Association about arrangements for cemeteries, dealing with the fact that we're running out of space all over the country. Michelle sends us this very, very clear in her own mind about what her end-of-life wishes are. Here she goes. She says, I have always been clear about my wishes when I die. Organ donor of anything that can be harvested from me. Donate me to medical school for dissection. I was privileged to do human dissection as part of my physiotherapy course. And finally, she says, cremate my remains. Everyone, Michelle concludes, has different views on the human body. For me, it is a vessel for my soul. Interesting contribution to our conversation, not just about practicality, but philosophical ideas as well. Thank you. Keep those coming on that issue and any others too, if you like. 072 7021 702, 16 past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Still problems out in Greenstone. For an update on that and the rest of the traffic news, Karabo Chale is standing by in this Eyewitness News Traffic, which is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702.
Well, John, at this stage, yes, Greenstone still an issue. Traffic heavily backed up on Modderfontein Road between the N3 and Greenstone Boulevard due to roadworks. Also driving through Melrose, Sandton, heading towards Midrand. Traffic congested M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Butlu interchange. We have that accident scene in the Midrand area. N1 south near the Butlu interchange causing heavy delays from New Road. So allow for extra traveling time if you're heading towards Sandton at this stage. Waterfall also in the Midrand area. Traffic pressure, Waterfall Drive between Allendale and the R55, while if you're driving through the Joburg CBD, expect heavy delays. M1 South from Killarney Benz to the Crown Interchange. Devland roadworks still causing heavy delays. This is on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue, and Proteas Lane we have bumper traffic. N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like.
Not your business.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing two generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place? Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders. Equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and emotional intelligence. Study in the heart of Sandton or online worldwide with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is here. Save up to 40% on deals like Jungle Oats 1 kg, Nutrific 1.35 kg, and Kellogg's Cornflakes cereal 750 grams, all three for 149 Rand. Save 57 Rand. Dr. Oetker Classic Frozen Pizza, any 5 for 199 Rand. Save 126 Rand. And Pampers Mega Box nappies or pants for 399 Rand. Save 251 Rand. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers Hyper.
Let's rewind 6 years, when Twitter was still Twitter, and not a letter of the alphabet. TikTok was simply the sound your clock made. And Zoom just meant enlarging a picture. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Ohino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
Are you ready to explore your beautiful country in style? With Lekker Slaap's user-friendly accommodation booking app, finding the perfect stay has never been easier. Whether you're dreaming of a beach escape, a bush retreat, or a city adventure, Lekker Slaap has you covered with thousands of stays for every budget. Join millions of happy South Africans who book their stays on Lekker Slaap. Download the Lekker app today and easily book your next holiday.
South Africa's new two-pot retirement system is revealing just how much pressure working people are under. This Thursday on 702 Breakfast, Old Mutual Corporate will unpack this headline topic from the Old Mutual Thought Leaders Forum and explore the key behavioral lessons that have emerged since the system's introduction. We'll also look at the ways in which employers can step up with smarter support, better benefits, and play a vital role in building long-term financial resilience for the country's workforce. Join the conversation Thursday, 28 August. Brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's talk about schools. Let's talk about the relationship between not all parents, but perhaps a substantial minority and possibly a growing one, and the teachers and principals in whose care their children have been placed. The executive head of St. Benedict's College in Johannesburg, Andre Oosthuizen, recently wrote a letter to parents saying that he was from time to time saddened by the conduct of a minority of parents. He outlined that he felt that many were taking their frustration over municipalities, Eskom, Rand Water, into the school space and in his words, unloading all our pent-up rage on those people to whom we've entrusted the care of our children. Let's welcome him to 702 Drive, Mr. Oosthuizen. Thank you for your time. I assume it didn't just happen suddenly that you wrote this letter. Was this an accumulation of straws breaking your back, if not the camel's, or did something in particular happen? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and the 702 listeners, and thank you for your time and opportunity. I think it's been a build-up over a number of years. I have 15 years experience in public education and now 21 years in private education. And over the course of time, I've seen a growing culture of toxicity and a narrative of unkindness in the educational space. And I don't think schools ought to be places where that kind of climate is allowed to prevail. Schools need to be spaces that are positive, reinforcing, where kids can grow and develop, and are dependent on the right relationship, particularly between parents and teachers. And I'm not saying that schools are perfect or that teachers are perfect. These issues happen. They've been happening for as long as education has been in place. But there's a way to deal with issues when they do arise. And I'm increasingly afraid that there's a thin wedge of parents who refuse to cooperate with schools, who short-circuit and bypass the school structures and processes, and cause us as educationists to second-guess ourselves.
So you describe the way they operate, and I'll take an excerpt from your much longer letter. You say, "Can we refrain from attacking and bad-mouthing one another? Please do not become one of those parents who take a problem or situation at face value, become a keyboard warrior, shoot off a piece of caustic correspondence that threatens legal action and all other forms of hellfire and brimstone to strong-arm our staff, management, or school." Why do you think parents are doing this? I know you suggest that this is a reflection of a larger frustration with a society that's not working as it should, but does it have something to do as well with the age, with social media, with the way in which the habits we've developed as to how we talk to each other?
Well, it's a broader question. Why are we in South Africa? Why are we all so angry all of the time?
Yes.
Dealing with all kinds of issues, and reaching a point where I think we're frustrated that we're unable to right situations that we should not be struggling with. And I think, schools all have structures in place. They wouldn't be allowed to operate if they didn't have appropriate structures in place. But parents bully schools, they intimidate the staff, they threaten the staff. And
Yes.
you're absolutely right. We live in an age where schools' reputations are something that we have to work hard to establish and protect. And the threat of social media and exposure and political interference is constantly there.
Yes.
And parents use it to try and strong-arm a set reaction from the school staff. And it takes quite a challenge to resist that and say, no, we will follow our processes and our policies and deal with the situation as we are qualified to do as professional educators.
And just finally, Mr. Oosthuizen, and briefly if you can, you are cautioning in this letter, which has obviously become part of a wider conversation, very well captured, by the way, by Prega Govender on News 24, conversations she's had with other school principals. You're saying there is what you call a bleak scenario of, quote, driving more and more teachers out of the profession by treating them with disrespect and malice and by turning them into a target. Presumably you're not basing this on supposition. I would imagine members of your own staff are coming to you and saying, ek kan nie meer nie.
Exactly, and it's not only staff at St. Benedict's. I think it's staff across the spectrum, public schools, private schools. We populate an aging profession. So many of our excellent teachers are leaving the profession because of the way they've been treated, the nonsense that they have to put up with on a day-to-day basis. So many are immigrating for overseas opportunities.
Right.
And you do end up finding yourself in a situation where you wonder who's going to educate the future of South Africa.
Thank you so much. Who is going to educate the future of our country? A poignant and pertinent question. Maybe you've got your own experiences to share. Andre Oosthuizen, thank you for your time, Executive Head at St. Benedict's.
EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest business news with Stephen Curtis. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, John. Well, the JSE All Share down 0.29% at 100,682 points. Financials down 0.9%, industrials down 0.6%, resources up 0.6%. So resources kind of, I think, slowing things down a little bit. Some corporate news today, and that is having an impact, but some strong performances from some of the gold miners. The gold price is up again, heading towards $3,400 once again. But DRD Gold up 5.36% on the day. Goldfields, Anglo and Anglo Gold all up very strongly. Goldfields is up over 3%. A strong update from Old Mutual. They say they expect their results to be up by 26% higher than last year. Their results to be up by perhaps 26%. The group says its short-term insurance business has had exceptional growth. It's also taken advantage of rising share prices, John, as the index rises, so the value of their investments rises. And then the group's still worried, though, about policies that lapse or being cancelled in its mass and foundation clusters. So that share doing very nicely today. Exaro up 2.74%. And then Motors up 2.5%. They said that they expect their headline earnings for the year to the end of June to be up by between 3 and 5%. Despite that, their revenue and operating profit largely unchanged. You'll find out more when their final results come. Looking forward to that conversation, actually. MAS are down 3.87 on the day. And, of course, there's that takeover bid from Prime Capital. While Harmony, after their update yesterday, they're down 3.5%. And First Rand are down 2.79. Investec also down 2.23. Cashbuild, reporting its headline earnings, will be up by between 7 and 12%. Does expect its earnings per share actually to be up by 100%, John. So they expect that to double. In the US, well, there are quite a few sort of results coming through, but a very subdued opening, and you can imagine why, as the US President Donald Trump said overnight that he believes he has fired the Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. He claims that this is because she's accused of wrongdoing. She's been accused of wrongdoing by someone he appointed. You can sort of do the maths, and I'm sure you can work out your own view on what's actually going on here. But that has also led to a weaker dollar. So the Dow Jones is flat. The Nasdaq is up 0.03. The S&P 500 is up 0.02 at the moment. And that's really what's pushing the gold price up, by the way, is obviously the concerns about the independence of the central bank in the United States. The gold price, $3,373.03 an ounce. Platinum, $1,344.50. Brent crude, $68.10. The rand to the dollar, $17.64. To the euro, $20.55. To the British pound, $23.77. Stephen Crotis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. It's 4:30. It's time for an update on what's happening here and further afield. Maki Molapo, good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The latest annual victim crime reports by Statistics South Africa has revealed that June and December remain peak months for house break-ins in the country. Stats SA released its findings earlier today, which highlights that house break-ins remain at the top of the list of crimes reported across the country. During the 2024-2025 period, an estimated 2.6 million incidents of house break-ins have been recorded. Statistician General Risenga Maluleke outlined reasons for a spike in the crime over the identified peak periods.
In June, it's because people tend to be sleeping longer, whereas in December, people are out shopping and some criminals may want to take advantage of that.
The Electoral Commission has registered 34 new political parties after last year's national and provincial elections. This brings the total number of registered political parties to 472. Although most of these organizations are eligible to contest national elections, only 18 of them are currently holding seats in Parliament. Addressing the media in Centurion today, IEC Chief Electoral Officer Sama Mabolo highlighted the growing number of parties seeking to participate in future elections.
287 are registered on a national level, while the balance of 185 are either registered provincially or on the district or metro level. 13 of the new political parties were registered in the period between July 2025 and today.
The Transport Department says it's inundated with new driving license applications as it works to reduce a massive backlog from earlier this year. The department's aging license card printing system broke down in February this year. The process of procuring a new driving license card machine is now on hold owing to a declaratory order application, pushing the turnaround time for a new card to around 2 months, and the delays will continue well into next year. This as the driving license card account continues to work around the clock to decrease the backlog, which remains at more than 500,000. The department's Colin Msibi.
We have about 539,000 backlog at the moment, and mainly because on a daily basis we get more than 10,000 applications for the new driving license card. So the problem that started on the 5th of February is still there, but it is compounded by the fact that you still have these new license requests that are coming in on a daily basis.
Msibi says Gauteng, the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal are the three most affected provinces.
We started at 4 to 6 weeks as a waiting period, but we had to be realistic. I mean, it has gone up to 6 to 8 weeks. It also depends on the figures that comes on a daily basis. This figure, the average that I'm talking about, 10 to 11,000, can change to about 14,000 applications that come on a daily basis. But on average at the moment, the waiting period is about 8 weeks.
Transport Minister Barbara Creasy said motorists would be permitted to drive with an expired license card for up to 3 months before facing any fines, provided they could show proof that they applied for a new card prior to the current card's expiration date. And France will sue the Australian streaming platform Kick for negligence after a user died during a live stream. The platform has come under scrutiny after a 46-year-old French man died last week during a 12-day live streaming marathon on his channel, which specialized in him enduring abuse or humiliation dished out by other participants. French Digital Affairs Minister Clara Chappers has has accused the platform of breaking a 2004 law regulating online content, adding that Kik did not do everything possible to stop the broadcast of dangerous content. A post-mortem found that the man, real name Raphael Graven, but known online as JP, was not killed by trauma or by someone else. A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 9 and 15 degrees and peak at highs between 26 and 29 degrees.
You can now expect about a 30-minute delay in the Greenstone area on Modderfontein Road between Wordsworth Road and Greenstone Boulevard due to roadworks. Also traveling through Melrose Santon heading towards Midrand. Traffic heavily congested M1 northbound between Ethel Oaklands and the Butlu interchange. Also in Midrand, we're still dealing with that accident scene N1 south near the Butlu interchange, causing heavy delays from New Road.
The top story in Eyewitness News. The latest annual victim crime reports by Statistics South Africa has revealed that June and December remain peak months for house break-ins in the country.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
The commission now being postponed. What are your thoughts on that as the EFF?
Look, I think we're not surprised that there's been this delay. And I think something we must all remember as people of South Africa right now is that Senzo Mkhunu, while all of this chaos is happening and this commission is suspended indefinitely, Senzo Mkhunu continues to draw a minister's salary. He continues to retain security that is retained by ministers. He continues to stay in a ministerial house because on his special leave, none of these are going to be revoked.
So now Tambo.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is back. With just one ticket, experience unforgettable music, mouth-watering food, bold fashion, and vibrant art. From Saturday 20 to Sunday 21 September, celebrate with friends and bring the family for a picnic on Sunday. This year, DSTV celebrates 30 years with international headliners, SA's hottest talent, and a feast that's as big as the vibe. It's Africa's biggest music and food festival. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and supported by 702. More on deliciousfestival.com.
Dis-Chem's Beauty Fair is here. Enjoy unbeatable savings on skincare that loves your skin as much as you do. Glow, hydrate, and radiate. From expert-approved dermacosmetics to everyday essentials, we have the perfect match for your skin and your budget. Our skincare specialists are on hand, ready to help you find the best for your skin. Don't miss Dis-Chem's Beauty Fair. Now on. Stock up on skincare, cosmetics, and fragrances at prices you will love. Offers valid until 14 September.
You could do something first and still be doing it wrong. What hurts is sprinting but never making it to the finish line. Quit going in the wrong direction because with Sani Sixt, you can rent here and globally. Other car rental companies only have a vision to try harder. We actually deliver. While they leave you feeling blue, our budget and vibe match yours. For a tailored service offering premium at every stage, book premium car rental excellence with Sani Sixt.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, brings the spirit of Ubuntu to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from the 29th to the 31st of August. Experience thrilling track drives, 4x4 adventures, drifting, supercar hot laps, and F1 demos. Get your tickets on Howler and use the promo code RADIO for a special discount. The Festival of Motoring, the power of new.
EWN Sport.
Lots of teams in action tonight in the Betway Premiership, including the Buccaneers. Tola Kele.
Thanks so much, John. And they'll be looking to make it back-to-back wins in the league when they host Obert College this evening. With the team on a high, having advanced to a fourth consecutive MTN8 final, Arislan Madu is looking for continued improvement. And he's also discussed Patrick Masangwangi's role in the team. That's after he was subbed off in the first half of Saturday's clash against Mamelodi Sundowns.
Patrick is one of our best players. He's a top player. He's doing well for such a long years in the club. I believe on him. Sometimes in football, especially me, because I've been in the professional football 17 years. I can't tell you how many times the coach take me out because I was not in a good day. It doesn't mean that I was a bad player. I still believe on him. He's very important for our club.
For former head coach Jose Rivero, his tenure at Al Ahly could be cut short amid reports that the club's board are set to hold crunch talks following a slow start to the Egyptian Premier League campaign. The Red Devils have recorded just 1 win and 2 draws in their opening 3 games, while they suffered an early exit from the group stages of the FIFA Club World Cup. Over to Naturena, where Kaizer Chiefs have confirmed the signing of midfielder Lebohang Maboyi, who's the 10th new face through the door during the current transfer window. The news comes ahead of their league clash against Sundowns tomorrow, where Nasruddin Nabi is expected back in the dugout after returning from Tunisia following personal matters. Over to cricket, where Dane van Niekerk insists she doesn't expect to be an automatic pick following her retirement U-turn. Van Niekerk is back in selection contention ahead of next month's World Cup, having called time on her international career back in 2023 due to fitness issues.
There's a massive difference from 2 years ago, so I think for me it's just really seeing where I'm at when it comes to that. I know I'm probably not where everyone's at the moment, but again, with the nice conversations we've had, I understand where I need to be for the team, and as I said, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I definitely wouldn't have gone through all of this if I'm not willing to put that in.
And Sourav Ganguly has been appointed head coach of Pretoria Capitals as the former India captain ventures into coaching for the first time. He succeeds Jonathan Trott while Sean Pollock takes on the role of assistant. Since retiring in 2008, Ganguly has been working as cricket administrator and served as president of the BCCI from 2019 until 2022. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get out into the traffic. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Also, rising frustrations out in Greenstone.
Yeah, no, that's true. Traffic is getting worse. You can now expect about a 30-minute delay in the Greenstone area on Modderfontein Road between Wordsworth Road and Greenstone Boulevard due to ongoing roadworks. Also driving through Melrose Santon, traffic heavily congested. M1 northbound from the Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Butlu interchange. Also Midrand, this is a biggie, accident scene. N1 southbound near the Butlu interchange now causing more than an hour delay all the way from New Road. Avoid that route at all costs if you're leaving Pretoria heading towards Joburg. Rather use the R21 through the Kempton Park area or even the R55 through Midrand Blue Hills area. Where Waterfall, there's also about a 20-minute delay on Waterfall Drive between Allendale and the R55 in the Joburg CBD. Expect heavy delays. M1 South between Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Explore the wonders of Mpumalanga. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Get your adrenaline rush with endless adventure activities. Explore breathtaking 4x4 routes or hike the Blader River Canyon, the third largest in the world. Unwind with spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Seems we've stirred up a lot of debate around what teachers go through in schools after that conversation with Andre Esterhazy from St. Benedict's College. If you missed it, go to primemediaplus.com. I'll share just one of the things that we received. My opinion, says this listener, people are angry with their kids due to their failure to control them. These parents then vent their frustrations on the teachers, an angle I hadn't thought about. 16 minutes to 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Now, we are going to talk about something that arose out of Kapazela's experience going to get your license renewed, hey?
Yeah, my driver's license.
And it involved a pair of glasses.
It did. So I was quite surprised when the guy said to me, you need to wear your glasses to do the eye test, because in the previous test I didn't need to wear my glasses, but although I do need my glasses to drive at night. So anyway, ran to the car, got the glasses, put them on, did the test.
Yes.
Long story short, I ended up walking out of the license department without my glasses and only realized last night when I left the studio I had to drive home. I was like, where are my glasses? And then I thought, left them at the license department. Anyway, I went back this morning to go and see if anybody had, handed them in.
Right.
And they said, have a look in this box. And they brought out this box. And this box was full of items that have been left behind at the license department. Mostly glasses, funnily enough. Spectacles.
Yes.
All shapes, colors, whatever it may be.
And all noted on their licenses, by the way, as required for driving.
Well, could be, or
you go
reading
figure.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But, and there were ID books in there as well, and wallets, but nothing in the wallets, by the way.
You checked.
And I did check. And then, my glasses happened to be locked away in a special cupboard for whatever reason. And that was by the night shift team. So I've got to go back there later to pick them up. But I thought about, if you are in customer-facing jobs, if you work in a restaurant, hospitality, or whatever it may be, what are the common things that people leave behind?
Yeah, and I'd like to know, what are the uncommon things that get left behind as well? Because I'm sure there have been some, in the midst of the glasses or the ID books or whatever, maybe there have been some surprises. So just to echo the question, if you are in that the service industry, customer facing, what kind of things have you stacked up? What's piled up in your place of work? Tolakele, anything you've left behind in maybe a store, maybe a restaurant?
I think in a hotel, I always tend to buy snacks, and I'm like, no, I'll just eat them throughout the evening.
Yes.
And then I'll be back on the road. I'm like, someone is going to have a full snack and sweet situation because I've got everything in the bar fridge. Because in my head, I'm always like, if you take stuff from the bar fridge, you have to pay for it. But sometimes I forget that you bought the stuff.
Yes.
Now they're just going to have it for free.
Have you ever gone back and say, excuse me, I was in 417, I left
you know what, John?
I left a Kit Kat. What do you mean it's not there? Are you kidding me?
I feel like in that moment, the universe is just do a good thing and let it go.
Yeah, maybe subconsciously you are leaving tips in the form of, various kind of snacks. How about you, Karabo? Anything you've left that you've thought, oh man?
Oh, well, I can't remember leaving anything serious. But I worked in a restaurant. I was a waiter for quite a while in tertiary, and most of the things people leave behind are jackets, kiddies' jerseys, and they just pile up and pile up and pile up, and and credit cards as well. So jerseys and credit cards.
Okay, I left a very good jacket in a restaurant. I was there pretty quickly to get it back, and they informed me no, there was no such jacket there.
Gee.
I thought of setting up a little station outside the place in the coffee shop opposite to just see if anyone walked out wearing my jacket. But then I suppose tried to be a little less of a stalker. 702 Drive, it's 12 minutes to 5.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
How do you teach? Because we also don't want people to wait for people to be taught. We want them to have the patience, the capacity, and the will to take in young people that maybe are not there yet, but can be taught. So outside of what you are teaching, and how do you teach in this virtual space, and how can that be applied in all spaces?
The way we teach it in the virtual space is to say that everyone has a unique skill of being able to be independent thinkers. But there are fundamental principles that will distinguish fake answers from the real answers.
Executive Manager at AVIA, which is the African Virtual Institute of Accountancy, Professor Rashid Small.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Aquele. Their marketing manager, Sharon Combrink, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again, in, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Drive home with John Perlman
On 702, let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So we do not yet have a date for next year's elections, but there is always a lengthy process getting ready for those elections. The Independent Electoral Commission today giving an update on what exactly they're faced with, what they've got done, and what they think might be some of the challenges going ahead. To talk about this, we're joined by Sai Mamabolo, who is Chief Electoral Officer at the Independent Electoral Commission. Mr. Mamabolo, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. One stat that stood out for me because you were reviewing the last round of elections, 88 cases challenging various aspects of the electoral process. You described this as, quote, increased litigation, and you mentioned that the Commission prevailed in all except one of these. Are you anticipating that there's going to be more of that and potentially much more? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. Certainly, the electoral landscape has become increasingly litigious. We obviously would wish that were not the case. However, you don't control who litigates against you. So we are preparing on a basis that this will be increased exponentially, and we therefore need to increase our own capacity to defend matters in the electoral court.
Are you doing anything differently to try and anticipate some of that? And that may not necessarily be procedural, but it might be in terms of communication. I mean, I would have thought one of the key issues is even if you cannot persuade your litigious adversary in the moment, you would at the very least want to make sure that the public understands the issue and the rights and wrongs of it.
No, absolutely. It is incumbent upon us. In fact, it's our responsibility to ensure that every participant, members of the public, understand the electoral scheme and the legal framework that governs the elections. For that purpose, we are engaging in provincial briefing sessions from November so that all unrepresented political parties, those that are registered but don't have any seats in any legislative assembly, as well as aspirant independent candidates, we doing workshops for them province by province so that they understand the scheme, they understand the requirements, and they understand how votes are going to translate into seats in the various municipal councils. One of the things about last year's election is that some parties came on board very late without necessarily having a good grasp of the electoral framework, hence the type of cases and the number of cases that we had.
One of the things you're warning about is fake job adverts, pages that falsely claim to be linked to the organization. And of course, as you gear up and crew up for an election, there's a lot of posts that need to be filled. Are you already seeing evidence of that, where people are starting to do advertising even though we don't yet have a date?
Yes, indeed. There are already a few cases of that nature. Hence, in the statement, we're warning members of the public that they need to be cautious when they provide their personal details. They need to ensure that when it purports to be the Electoral Commission, it has to be an authentic website of the Commission, which is elections.org.za. Similarly, with respect to social media platforms, they need to verify the authenticity of the platforms before they provide their personal information.
I've got a question from one of our listeners. Athol, please ask Mr. Mamabolo if ballot papers are going to be printed in South Africa.
Yes, indeed. We have secure printing facilities across the country. The printing industry in the country is capable of secure printing and secure distribution.
My understanding is we don't have a date yet, but what is the outer limits on the very latest when we would have an election?
The date is the end of January 2027. So that is the last day in the 90-day window period, which is the framework from which the Minister of Cooperative Governance should work.
Based on your vast experience, I don't mean just yours, Mr. Mamabolo, but the collective insights of the IEC over many, many years, when's the best time to have an election?
Well, first of all, we are governed by law, so there are dictates in terms of that. But having said so, you want to avoid where the weather has adverse effect on the turnout of people. So when it's extremely cold, when it's extremely hot, when there's potential for rain and so on, those are some of the factors that you ideally have to take into account in arriving at the day. So there's a bit of science behind it. Because you want to give people the maximum opportunity to take part. So you do not want people to be inhibited by external elements.
And you have 3 vacancies for commissioners. Are you thinking one of them ought to be a climatologist? Because anyone who can be sure about the weather in this day and age of global warming would be most welcome. But thank you very much, Simon Mamabolo, Chief Electoral Officer at the IEC. 7:02 Drive. It's 3 minutes to 5.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Yes, you're right. The talent is there, but is the environment conducive for the talent to come in?
What I'm talking about is the board of the Republic of South Africa. The board of directors of the Republic of South Africa is Parliament. It is from that 400 that we have to choose those who will occupy executive positions, including the president. And South Africans need to decide, I want a different quality board. Right now, I am sorry to say, South Africa does not select its best to govern it. We've got to be frank about this. You can't ask a donkey to run the Durban July. It will not win. And that's what South Africans continually do.
Songwe Zosibi, the leader of Rise Mzansi.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Mzansi, get ready to Panda Pusher play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 76 million Rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million Rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 45 million today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Itube is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front-of-package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by 30 September.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
This is EWN.
Police Commission date of commencement still unknown, and the clock is ticking for Higher Education Minister to answer to Seta appointments. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi says she finds the scathing statement by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on the delays experienced to be unfair. This morning, the Commission, which will investigate the allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, announced it will not begin public hearings on Monday as planned due to delays in procuring vital infrastructure. The Justice Minister and her deputy came out to address the delays this afternoon, announcing the suspension of Director General Dr. Leshabani and Deputy Director for ICT Jabulani Hlatshwayo. Khomotso Modise has more.
After this morning's statement by the Madlanga Commission, which placed the blame squarely on the Justice Department for delays in starting its hearings, Minister Mamoloko Kubayi still insists there is no breakdown in relationship between them. But she did speak to the Commission's decision to publish its statement.
What I would have expected from them is to give me the courtesy to allow me to be able to completely communicate to the public in a transparent manner, openly.
She says she expected the Commission not to kill public trust in state organs.
Especially because I've been very cooperative with them. They can get hold of me over my WhatsApp. They can call me anytime. I've been responsive to their email. Even less than 2 hours of what they send to me, I'm responding to them. I found it very unfair.
Kubayi says while the procurement challenges have been resolved, she cannot give a date on when the Commission will begin public hearings. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Seta says victim crime report has revealed that 60% of crimes against women in the country are committed by spouses, friends, acquaintances and other relatives. The latest report examining the 2024-2025 period has highlighted that in most assault cases reported by women, the perpetrators are known to their victims. The annual report was released earlier today during a media briefing in Pretoria. Arun Singh has more.
Statistician General Resenge Maluleke released Stats SA's victim crime report this morning in Pretoria. According to the report, assaults committed against women in the country were done so by people known to them.
When you combine a spouse, a friend, an acquaintance, you go to above 60%. Whereas when males are exposed to crime, it tends to be an unknown person. So we can see a steep against women in terms of spaces where they would feel safe and protected. They are not as much safe and protected.
In majority of the assaults committed in the past year, knives were used as the weapon of choice, followed by guns. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela has until tomorrow to answer to the Higher Education Portfolio Committee on whether he followed correct procedures when putting 3-seaters under administration. Manamela placed the construction seater, services seater and local government seater under administration last week. Committee chairperson Tebo Kholetsia says he's aware that some of the seaters are challenging Manamela's decision.
They've written to me as well. They've indicated that their intention to challenge this process or the decision of the minister.
Lizia says Manamela will have to respond to his letter on whether he followed the right process, like informing the National Skills Authority.
We will find out from in our engagement with the ministry what was that process and if it was processed properly, and if not, what will be the consequence for management.
The ANC has warned members that it will take disciplinary action against any of those who publicly badmouth the party. This comes after ANC National Executive members Senzo Mchunu and Malusi Gigaba publicly criticized the party on separate occasions recently. This weekend, ANC stalwart Naledi Pandor did the same, saying the organization has lost its way. Speaking at a media briefing this afternoon, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says members must strictly adhere to the party's communication protocol.
The ANC speaks with one voice. The president is the policy face of the organization. The secretary general is the chief spokesperson, and the national spokesperson is the official media line. Public contradictions, unauthorized statements, and social media misconduct are acts of defiance, not freedom, and will attract consequences.
And the United Nations says more than 2 billion people worldwide still lack access to safely managed drinking water, warning that progress towards universal coverage is moving nowhere near quickly enough. The UN's Health and Children's agencies say a full 1 in 4 people globally are without water access to safely managed drinking water, with over 100 million people remaining reliant on drinking surface water, for example, from rivers, ponds and canals. In a joint study, the World Health Organization and UNICEF say that the world remains far off track to reach a target of achieving universal coverage of such services by 2030. Gold's trading at $3,379.57 an ounce. The rand's at 17.64 to the dollar, at 23.78 to the pound, at 20.56 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $68.15 a barrel.
We're still dealing with that accident scene in the Midrand area heading towards Sandton. This is the N1 southbound near the Patlu interchange, causing more than an hour delay all the way from New Road. Waterfall still in Midrand. You can expect about a 20-minute delay on Waterfall Drive between Allendale and the R55. And in Greenstone, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on Modderfontein Road between Wordsworth Road and Greenstone Boulevard due to roadworks.
In your sport, Stellenbosch looking to kickstart their Bidway Premiership campaign against Marumo Gallants tonight. Jude Bellingham's parents are banned from Borussia Dortmund's dressing room, and Will O'Rourke out for 3 months due to a slew of injuries.
A look at your weather. Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 9 degrees and peak at highs of 29. Pretoria is at 15 and 26. Vereeniging's at 11, also reaching highs of 29 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubayi says she finds the scathing statement by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on the delays experienced to be unfair.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 5. So the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development says the criticism leveled against them is unfair. I think it's important for ministers in general, but this minister in this particular instance, to take cognizance of all the other things we hear about procurement. She, for example, is saying, well, they couldn't do this without compromising. And I'll read the right direct quote. It was clear that it is practically impossible to intervene in the procurement process without compromising what is required by law as compliance with the Public Finance Management Act and supply chain management policies. Isn't there such a thing as doing the same thing, the right thing, the correct thing and the legal thing, but just doing it quicker? Because things get done quickly all the time in government. They often, it appears to me, though, to be done very, very quickly when they involve the misuse of public money and the thwarting of those processes. Are they so rigid, those processes, that you can't act with speed and haste and with a sense of urgency on a matter that the president of the country has stood up and said, this is crucial, we have to do it, and we have to do it fast? After all, they set deadlines for interim reports and yet failed to provide what is needed for the process to get underway so those report deadlines can be met. I don't think you can claim bureaucratic procedure as an explanation for failing to do this do what needed to be done in this instance. But let me not depend on what I think I know about this. We'll chat to Advocate Paul Ptorius, former evidence leader at the Zondo Commission, shortly. He will have a very good idea of what's required to set up properly and efficiently and with everything they need a commission, admittedly one much smaller than the Zondo Commission, but he'll have a very clear idea of what the basic tools of the trade are. We'll talk to him in a moment. It's 10 minutes past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey John, I had similar experience to Kabzela, but this was on the rental cars. So I normally have a magnet the back of my phone, or the magnet, and then I put the magnet on the vents of the vehicle for the rental vehicles to hold my phone when I do the maps. And I forgot it at the airport, and about 2 months later I returned to the airport. I thought, what's the chances they have my magnet? So I asked the car rental company, hey, when I return the car, do they have the magnet by any chance? And the lady pulled out a box full of these magnets. It's like, my goodness, so many people leave the magnets they put in the vents to hold their phone. Yeah, rental cars, magnets, there's a lot of them. Thanks.
Good afternoon, 702. I don't know how many times I had to chase after people who leave their phones at the furniture shop. I used to work at the furniture shop, and then every time, I will say almost every week, I will have to chase at someone leaving their phones behind. When they test the bed, they leave a phone. When they sit on the couch, they leave the phone. Yeah, phones.
I suppose when people are like, having a little nap on a furniture store bed or slumping into a couch, they're probably in the back of their mind, they think I'm at home. And when they walk out, they think they're heading for the kitchen to put the kettle on or get a cold one out of the fridge. Things that have been left behind in places where you do customer-facing work. It might be a car rental place, as we heard a moment ago, furniture shop. Whether you're the person working there or the person who's left stuff behind, call us with that story. Now, I just want to address something briefly out of the interview with Simon Mabolo before we give you the latest traffic news, and I'm sure many of you want the latest on what's happening in Greenstone. But we did get this question because I mentioned that there were 88 cases of litigation in the last election, and Veli said this: good afternoon, may you ask Mr. Mamabolo which matter they lost in court and why? I guess it should be one somewhere in the northeast. Not so, Veli. And I'll just read exactly what they say about this. The Electoral Commission prevailed in all, i.e. 87, except one, which relates to establishing special voting stations outside of the official foreign missions of the Republic. An appeal is pending in the Supreme Court of Appeal on this matter. Your mind may be going, by the way, to a by-election issue that I think arose in the Potchefstroom area, but that was not in the course of the general election that preceded that. So it wouldn't fall under the 88 that he was describing. 13 past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. We'll catch up with the Greenstone situation, but Midrand, we have problems as well. Don't worry, Karabo Chale will fill you in on all the details.
Yes, that's Midrand heading towards Sandton. We have that accident scene, N1 South, near the Batoon interchange, now causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Samran. So try to avoid that route to allow for extra traveling time. Waterfall, also in Midrand, expect about a 20-minute delay on Waterfall Drive between Allendale and the R55. Driving through Melrose, Sandton, heading towards Midrand, traffic remains congested on the M1 northbound from Athol Oaklands all the way to the Batoon interchange. 4 ways traffic pressure on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and the N1. While in the Joburg CBD traveling towards Poisons, expect heavy delays on the M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange. Greenstone, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay on Modderfontein Road. This is between Wordsworth Road and Greenstone Boulevard due to ongoing roadworks. In Devland, south of Joburg, roadworks causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. And in Proteas Lane, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 westbound from the R554 Abubakar Drive all the way to the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 85. You had to turn back home because you forgot to pack your laptop. Fortunately, with the OUTsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The OUTsurance pointsmen, easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
How do you teach? Because we also don't want people to wait for people to be taught. We want them to have the patience, the capacity, and the will to take in young people that maybe are not there yet, but can be taught. So outside of what you are teaching, in, like, how do you teach in this virtual space, and how can that be applied in all spaces?
The way we teach it in the virtual space is to say that everyone has a unique skill of being able to be independent thinkers. But there are fundamental principles that will distinguish fake answers from the real answers.
Executive Manager at AVIA, which is the African Virtual Institute of Accountancy, Professor Rashid Small.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Whether it's thin crust, deep dish, or wood-fired, your pizza place makes every slice perfect. From the first bite of melted cheese to the last crunchy edge, it's comfort and celebration all in one. Maybe it's family night, a casual catch-up, or your go-to takeaway. They never disappoint. And now's your chance to say, I see you. Vote for your favorite in Gauteng's greatest pizza place category at primemediaplus.com. Voting closes 27 August, so please make it count. Because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence, and excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
Looking for the perfect place to book your next local holiday? Lekker has you covered with over 30,000 stays across South Africa. From luxury hotels, resorts and lodges to cozy self-catering homes, B&Bs and guest houses, Lekker has something for every taste and budget. Whether it's a quick getaway or an extended holiday, visit Lekker today and easily book your dream getaway on South Africa's leading accommodation app.
Choose your health. Choose Clicks. With over 200 Clicks clinics nationwide, convenient and expert care is within reach. Our clinics offer wellness screenings and primary healthcare services for you and your family. We also provide mom and baby services like baby immunizations, family planning, pregnancy care, and more. Our nurses are available to give holistic healthcare advice and support. Book an appointment today at clicks.co.za or on the Clicks app. T's and C's apply. Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Ptorius' smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah, it started out as a passion and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Brew, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion, geared for you.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into allegations made by the Police Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, was meant to begin with public hearings on the 1st of September. That's not going to happen, and the Commission has made very clear that the reason why they can't get underway with that part of their work, they're doing other work as well. But September 1 was very much a line drawn in the sand, a flag put in the ground, use whichever cliche you like, but it was a signal date for the start of something that from the highest office in the land to the lowest, as it's been widely agreed how crucial this is. But it's not going to happen because things that were meant to be done by way of logistical and technical support by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development have not been done. A couple of senior people in that department have been suspended, including the Director General, Advocate Doc Mashabane, and the Deputy DG for ICT, Jabu Hlatshwayo. Not sure how much that is going to help at this stage. So what's going on, and what exactly does the Commission need? Advocate Paul Ptorius was the evidence leader at the Zondo Commission, but would have been very much involved in as well in making sure that that commission had all the logistical support it needed. And he joins us now on 702 Drive. Advocate Ptorius, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. What are the key things that a commission does need? I mean, I understand, for example, and this is what the minister calls the major issue that we are standing at. Her words is ICT and tools of trade. 25 laptops, she says, have been delivered. They're being configured. Secure ICT infrastructure, searchable forensic data storage, and so on. Is this a critical part? And if it is, surely it's not that complicated.
Well, it's an essential part and does become complicated when procurement is involved, and one must have sympathy because one of the outcomes of the Zondo Commission is the need carefully to follow procurement rules. But if one looks at a commission, you've got the commissioners, you've got evidence leaders, you've got investigators, you've got a secretariat. The secretariat function is very important. It must make the whole machine work. If any part of the vehicle of the commission is missing, like a wheel, the whole vehicle then grinds to a halt, as we found out now. So it's very important that the whole commission be coordinated in its procurement function and the provisioning of resources, and the IT resources are critical here. There must be an accurate record. There must be a complete, comprehensive record. Every word that is sent out or that comes in must be properly recorded and indexed, available for later use, and proof in litigation if that ever becomes necessary. The Commission faces a huge challenge. It's got very wide terms of reference.
Right.
They have to investigate and lead evidence on a number of issues. They can't be involved in micromanaging procurement, and that is why the support of the DOJ and the cooperation with the Secretariat, when the Secretariat tries to compile and execute a working machinery for the Commission's use, that must function at 100% efficient level. And so the support of the Department of Justice and the operation of the Secretariat within the Commission is critical in all aspects of the Commission. It can't fail. If one part of the machine breaks down, everything grinds to a halt. We can't have that. The Commission is too important.
Let me read for you, Advocate Ptorius, and for the listeners obviously as well, from the Madlanga Commission's statement. They talk about the announcement that hearings would begin on the 1st of September. And they say, the Commission made this announcement based on unequivocal commitments made to it by the department that the requirements would have been procured in time. Unfortunately, those commitments have not been met. Surely if the Department of Justice was incapable of doing this on time, they should have said so straight away, even before an announcement was made on timelines.
Well, of course. I don't know enough detail about what happened and the reasons for the failure to provide the resources that the Commission required and was promised. So anywhere along the procurement and provisioning line, there could have been a hiccup. I remember, for example, in the Zondo Commission, that the service provider providing the photocopying machines just one day came and took them away.
Yes.
On the basis that the renewal hadn't been arranged. So anywhere along the procurement line, there can be a failure. I don't know where, but those responsible should be held accountable for that, and it shouldn't happen. You know, how difficult is it to provide technical support and the wherewithal required for the Commission. Of course, the computer technological aspect of a Commission's work is very important and can be quite complex. You need a database, you need software access into the database, you need the hardware, you need the software. That's not an uncomplicated set of demands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
The but is important.
Fail.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Yes, they shouldn't fail.
No.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
No, I understand that, but you know, to set the context, let me repeat the first sentence of what the president said some time back on the 13th of July, after he'd said, "My fellow South Africans," he said this: "I address you this evening on a matter that concerns the security of our country, the integrity of our law enforcement agencies, and the safety of our people." Not quite the situation we faced at the beginning of the pandemic, but it's up in that league, suggesting that this is going to be government bringing its A game. Given what the president said and given all the debate, Advocate Ptorius, around the commission itself, how much of a setback is this? Because for the naysayers, they're saying, well, this is a deliberate delay. This is just trying to kick the can down the road. We never appear to run out of cans to kick down the roads, it would seem. No procurement problem there. But it really, I regard this as a significant setback. Perhaps I'm overreacting.
Well, we don't know what the setback is, how central it is to the operation of the Commission. I don't know that, and how long it will take to rectify. But in a matter of such importance, take the analogy of flying a plane. Every part of that plane must work.
Yes.
The pilot and everybody involved in operating the plane must be working at 100%. There's no room for failure. It's similar here, right down the line of procurement, right down the line of provisioning and operation of the technical and technological aspects of the Commission. That must work at 100%. There is no compromise, and people must be held to account. So if for an important aspect like this, the future of the country is at stake in relation to the investigation of these allegations. There is no room for 90%. It has to be 100%, obviously. Any failure must be fully investigated and accounted for.
Thank you so much. Advocate Paul Ptorius, former evidence leader at the Zondo Commission. 27 minutes past 5.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
Hi everyone, I'm Dean McPherson, the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure. Since I was appointed just over a year ago, we've laid a firm foundation in the department, and after tabling our 7.6 billion rand budget for growth, we're now turning plans into action. That means that we're moving government departments into our own state-owned buildings to save you billions of rands in rent. We're unlocking public land to build affordable housing, create shelters for victims of gender-based violence, and to boost food production. We're also tackling corruption head-on without fear or favor. And we're giving young South Africans real opportunities through a reformed EPWP program that focuses on skills and long-term jobs. And this is only the beginning. With your support, we're building a capable and professional department that delivers infrastructure, creates jobs, and puts public assets to work for the public good. The best is yet to come because we're building a better country for you, brick by brick.
Mzansi, get ready to Panda Pusher play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 76 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 45 million today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Itube is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critters, day 2 of the trading week. How's it gone?
Yeah, not great, John. Good afternoon. The all share down 0.5% at 102,433 points at the close. Financials leading the charge down 1.2%. Industrials down 0.8%. And then resources, a bit of a bright spark. They're up 0.5%. Gold prices are slightly higher. We have Donald Trump once again to thank for that. And that's really, I suppose, because of his promise, well, he says he's done it, to fire Lisa Cook, who is one of the governors of the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. DRD Gold ending the day up nearly 5% on the back of all of that. Gold Fields also up 2.8%, and some of the other gold miners doing very nicely as well. Old Mutual ending up nearly 4% after a strong update. They expect their results to be up to 26% higher than last year, but of concern about policies lapsing or being cancelled in their mass and foundation cluster, but also the fact that the JSE has risen so strongly has helped their investments. So that's one of the reasons for that. Motors also up 2.6% on the day. The automotive group, they say their headline earnings for the year to the end of June will be up by 3% and 5%. Lots of different transitions going on in our car industry at the moment, John. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons that people are slightly surprised it's not worse. And then Pick and Pay, well, it's not bad at all, actually. Pick and Pay are up 3.8% and Boxes up over 2.5% on the day. Harmony down 4.86% after their update, and Sasol giving back a little bit as well. It was up 11% yesterday, down 2.67% on the day, and MAS down nearly 4%. There is, of course, that takeover issue that's underway at the moment with Prime Capital. And then Cashbuild saying that their headline earnings will be up by between 7 and 12%. In the US, it's quite subdued. The dollar is slightly weaker against most major currencies because of Trump's claim to have fired Lisa Cook. Her lawyers have just filed suit, by the way, in the last 10 minutes or so to challenge that sacking. So I think we're ready for a sort of battle royal. He's going to love it in the US. That's pushed the Dow Jones down 0.09%. The Nasdaq is up 0.14%. The S&P 500 is, well, flat's up 0.01% at the moment. The gold price slightly higher, $3,380.17 an ounce platinum, $1,329.50 Brent crude, $67.44 on the rand to the dollar, 17.62 to the euro, 20.54 to the British pound, 23.79. On the Money Show this evening, 23.76 I should say. On the Money Show this evening, we'll be looking at this unbelievable story around the Government Pension Administration Agency, John, the National Treasury taking that over. Sikanati Manchancha has been leading the reporting on that. We'll hear from him on the Money Show this evening. Also focusing on the grid and trying to change our power generation system when the grid isn't really ready for it. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Let's get the latest news right now with Mark Imbolapo, who has been keeping an eye on things close to home and further afield.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The Western Cape Education Department says it's keeping a close eye on taxi-related violence across a number of communities and the effect it may have on schooling. This follows what's understood to be a recent escalation of violence between Kata and Kodeta associations that resulted in the deaths of 2 people at a taxi rank in Philippi East yesterday, leaving 4 victims, including passengers, critically injured. On the same day, a taxi driver was murdered while 3 other people sustained injuries at the Vuyani taxi rank in Town 2 in Khayelitsha. In this morning's incident, 2 people were shot and killed and another 2 injured at the Makassar taxi rank. This as Bishop Lavas police investigate the death of a man who was reportedly shot outside a primary school in the area this morning. Education MEC David Mania.
Unfortunately, this has generated a lot of concern on social media, and parents have arrived at some schools to collect their children early. Keeping schools open so that learners are not on the streets is a priority. And if a safety incident of any nature requires a school to close, this is done on a case-by-case basis in conjunction with the district office.
Mania is urging parents to rely on official verified information from their children's school.
It's extremely disappointing that once again the violent behavior of the taxi organizations affects the ability of our learners to access their right to basic education. The best interests of our children should always come first. The department will continue to monitor the situation.
The Transport Department says it's inundated with new driving license applications as it works to reduce a massive backlog from earlier this year. The department's aging license card printing system broke down in February this year. The process of procuring a new driving license card machine is now on hold following a declaratory order application, pushing the turnaround time for a new card to around 2 months, and the delays will continue well into next year. This as the driving license card account continues to work around the clock to decrease the backlog, which remains at more than 500,000. The department's Colin Msibi.
We have about 539,000 backlog at the moment, and mainly because on a daily basis we get more than 10,000 applications for the new driving license card. So the problem that started on the 5th of February is still there, but it is compounded by the fact that you still have these new license requests that are coming in on a daily basis.
Msibi says Gauteng, the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal are the most affected provinces.
We started at 4 to 6 weeks as a waiting period, but we had to be realistic. I mean, it has gone up to 6 to 8 weeks. It also depends on the figures that comes on a daily basis. This figure, the average that I'm talking about, 10 to 11,000, can change to about 14,000 applications that come on a daily basis. But on average at the moment, the waiting period is about 8 weeks.
Transport Minister Barbara Creasy said motorists would be permitted to drive with an expired license card for up to 3 months before facing any fines, provided they could show proof that they applied for a new card prior to the current card's expiration date. The International Relations Department has announced the passing of South Africa's High Commissioner to Kenya and Ambassador to Somalia, Mninwa Mahlangu. He died on Sunday as he was making a return to South Africa to seek medical assistance after a short illness. Mahlangu once served as South Africa's ambassador to the United States and was also previously the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Affectionately known as MJ, Ambassador Mahlangu was part of the group that drafted the country's post-apartheid constitution and was elected to Parliament in 1994. He served as ambassador to the US between 2015 and 2020. In his latest posting in Kenya, the 72-year-old Mahlangu was also South Africa's permanent representative to the United Nations office in Nairobi. International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says Mahlangu has left a legacy of unwavering dedication to the country. Lamola's spokesperson, Crispin Perry.
Ambassador Mahlangu was a true patriot whose love for our country shone through in the manner in which he went about executing our foreign policy.
Meanwhile, Parliament's presiding officers say Mahlangu also displayed exemplary parliamentary leadership before taking on his diplomatic career. Government and Parliament have extended their sympathies to Mahlangu's family. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And finally, Spotify Technology will start rolling out a messaging feature in select markets this week to both free and premium subscription tiers. The music streaming platform announced the introduction of a way for subscribers to chat with their friends on the app in a bid to become a more social content consumption app. The messaging feature will allow users to chat and share music with people they've interacted with on Spotify through shared playlists. This also applies to people who share a family or duo plan. Once a request is sent, they will have to approve it to start a conversation. The Swedish firm has also been expanding its video content library, including through a partner program that offers monetization options for podcast creators. A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 9 and 15 degrees and peak at highs between 26 and 29 degrees.
Accident seen in Midrand, N1 South near the Between Interchange, still causing about an hour delay all the way from Samrand in Glen Austin, still in Midrand. Traffic is also sluggish on Allendale Road between the N1 and Mastiff. And if you are in the Four Ways area, traffic pressure on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and the N1.
The top story in Eyewitness News. The Western Cape Education Department says it's keeping a close eye on taxi-related violence across a number of communities and the effect it may have on schooling.
When you vote in Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko, you don't just support a business, you help rewrite its future.
Winning Gauteng's greatest, powered by Yoko, impacted our business in quite a few ways. And for our business,
It was a family business which was actually originally established in KZN. It was so important in establishing ourselves in Gauteng with our second location, which many people didn't even know. Of course, yes, I would encourage people to vote for their favorite establishment. It's really not hard to do, to just quickly go to Primedia Plus to cast your vote.
Winning Gauteng's greatest, powered by Yoka, has helped us to get that kind of public recognition, but this now gives that recognition to the staff who put in all that time and effort to give our customers the greatest pizza available. On behalf of us at Delta Cafe, I would strongly encourage all the listeners to go to Prime Media Plus and cast their votes.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Your vote is more than a click. It could be a game changer for your favorite local business. Vote now on primediaplus.com.
Choose the best. The new Huawei Pura 80 series. The master of photography. A super sensor with precision zoom. Stay sharp from dawn to dusk with a superior 1-inch ultralighting camera and ultralighting macro telephoto lens. The master of color, enhancing every frame with vibrant color and incredible clarity. Tricky lighting? No problem. Take portraits against the light with every face perfectly illuminated. It's more than a phone. It's a professional studio in your pocket. Go beyond with Huawei Pura 80 series.
Medical aid plans, they're normally like this.
So, you'll need to take this form and this. So don't forget this too. Okay, wait. Don't forget this one. Wait. Okay, done. My back! Sorry, sir. That's gonna have to come out of your savings.
At Bonitas, we make our plans simple, so they're easy to understand. We also offer a benefit booster and a range of other benefits that don't come off your savings. Visit bonitas.co.za when you need us. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. T's and C's apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. 702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John Kabazela. Funny you asking that because I'm from Checkers now, and luckily I realized quick or early enough. As soon as I got into the car, I realized that I left my cell phone on the counter. And I remembered also what counter number I was at. So I went back, and just as they were handing it to the manager, I was there. Yeah. It's Nini's here on the road. Thank you.
Hi, John. I left a brand new fleece in the airport outside Moscow. I realized I'd left it there when I got to my hotel, but it was an hour away and I really couldn't afford the taxi to go back and see if it was still there. When I returned after a trip in Mongolia, 3 weeks later, I went to the Lost and Found and asked if they had any nice fleece that had been left in the loo. I had to describe the color and the size, and I think the make as well. And they said, oh, yes, well, please, we'll have a look and please sign here, and gave it. It had been there for 3 weeks in Moscow, just waiting for me to come and claim it. I was so delighted.
So not a common item, but I used to work in a retail store selling lighting, and someone came in and we got talking about diamonds, and this guy was a diamond polisher. And he showed me 2 diamonds that he had just done, that all certified and polished, and he was, showing me about the cuts and the clarities, and ultimately he left them on my desk and he walked out the store. But when I got back to my desk, I obviously put them away for him, and he ran in frantically about half an hour later and he asked me if I'd seen his diamonds.
You had seen his diamonds. It didn't mean you had them. Anyway, great stories. Thank you. We asked you about interesting things you have left behind. 702 Drive. It's coming up now for 17 minutes to 6 o'clock. Let's get the very latest sports news. Lots of football tonight.
EWN Sport.
Stellenbosch FC, Pirates and others in action. Tolakele, who's saying what?
Well, John, that's 2 of the 5 games in the Betway Premiership this evening. Ahead of it, Steve Barker's side are in desperate need of 3 points, having lost 2 and drawn 1 of their league games this campaign.
No, it's massively important for us in our next 2 matches, both here in at home against Callants and Sundowns, to get some momentum in the league and to try and pick up maximum points. It's always nice going into a break and like a FIFA break. Having performed well, so massively important for us to perform in the next 2 home matches.
Borussia Dortmund have clamped down on their dressing room protocols by banning all family members from the area. This comes after Joe Bellingham's parents, Mark and Denise, were left unhappy after seeing their son substituted off at halftime. That was in their season-opening Bundesliga draw against Sao Paulo. They then waited in the tunnel at full time to confront the Dortmund hierarchy about the matter, including holding an emotional discussion with sporting director Sebastian Kehl. Over to cricket, where the Proteas women are finalising their World Cup preparations with the training camp in Durban. A familiar face is in the mix with Dane van Niekerk back in selection contention. That's after she reversed her decision to retire. Van Niekerk surprised many by calling time on her international career back in 2023 after she was left out of the T20 World Cup squad due to fitness issues.
I just want to really add value, and these players are open for these conversations. So as long as I can just contribute in a positive manner, that'll be awesome for me. And who knows what the future holds, but it's a very positive start, and everything that transpired is in the past. And as I said, and hopefully when time comes, I can sing that national anthem again.
New Zealand have been hit by injuries ahead of their summer of cricket, which will see them take on Australia, England and the West Indies over the next 3 months. Will O'Rourke has been ruled out for at least 3 months with a stress fracture in his back. White ball skipper Mitch Satner will undergo abdominal surgery, while Glenn Phillips and Finn Allen are both facing spells on the sidelines with groin and right foot injuries respectively. And the Sunshine Tour has announced that the winner of the 2026 South African Open will receive an invitational to the Masters tournament. Further to this, the RNA has also stated its intention to retain the winner of the SA Open as part of the opening qualifying series for the 154th edition at Royal Birkdale. Tola Gilemganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's get an update from the roads. Midrand problems, how are they doing? Anything looking a bit better?
Unfortunately,
shake of the head.
Nah, not looking good at all. If you're leaving Pretoria heading towards the Sandton area, driving through Midrand, we still have that accident scene on the N1 southbound. This is near the Backlog interchange, causing more than an hour delay all the way from Samrand. I'm afraid even those alternative routes are also heavily congested. That's the old Pretoria Road and the R55. Still in Midrand, Glen Austin, traffic sluggish on Allendale Road between the N1 and Mastiff. Driving through Melrose, Sandton, heading towards Midrand. Traffic remains congested on the M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Backlog interchange. 4 ways, also traffic pressure. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and the N1 in the Joburg CBD. Traveling through the Joburg CBD heading towards Boysons, heavy delays. M1 south from Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange. Also about an hour delay in the Greenstone area. That's on Modderfontein Road between Wordsworth Road and Emerald Boulevard due to roadworks, and in Protea Glen expect about a 20-minute delay. R559 Main Road opposite GOG Gardens. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, we've been talking about things people leave behind in retail spaces. Beat this from Ken on the West Rand, who says, my brother-in-law went to Edgar's in Rosebank Mall and left his 2-year-old son in the pram behind in the Edgar's. I presume when you got back, he was still there. Otherwise, Ken, it wouldn't be a story we chuckle over. Thanks for sharing that. 7:02 Drive, it's 12 minutes to 6. We always wind up the show with some music. Try and think of something that represents a thread or a theme or whatever. And Jonathan Fairburn, today you're in need of a musical embrace of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, we do this feature every day, and coming up with a topic that hopefully our 702 family will participate in is always a challenge. So
Yes.
if anybody's listening and has an idea, please get in touch with us.
Yeah, 072 702 1702. I expect ideas to flood in now.
Yeah, so I came across this one on Reddit, and it said, please give me songs that you think feel like a warm hug to you.
Okay, that's consoling. So what were some of the ones that came out? Give us 2 or 3 before you give us yours.
Oh, okay, well, I haven't gone into the actual
Okay.
thread. I took a screenshot of it because I was
Yes.
trawling and I thought it was a good idea. But I was thinking about it and I was like, a song that feels like a warm hug to you. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And then I thought, okay, well, a song that I've always liked from when I was a young boy up until now. So it's maybe a little bit of nostalgia that gives me. But if I think about it, it gives me a bit of a warm feeling inside, which you could maybe say, it's a nice warm hug.
Yeah.
So I would pick Great Heart, Johnny Clegg, and Savuka.
Okay, well, let's hear that. And if any of you feel a warm hug from that or think, I've had warmer hugs, let's get your warmer hug. Tell us a song, and I know exactly what the person's saying in the question. I think I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that it's just a song that you feel maybe consoled by, if that's what you happen to need, or just confirms the good feeling that you already have, because hugs do all of those things and probably more. So let's get into it. Johnny Clegg, Savuka, Great Heart.
Every man has to be his own savior. I know I can make it on my own if I try, but I'm searching for a great heart to stand me by underneath the African sky. A great heart to stand me by. I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart to hold and keep me by. I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart under African skies. Sometimes I feel that you really know me. Sometimes there's so much you can show me. There's a highway of stars across the heavens. There's a whispering song of the wind.
Yeah, lovely, lovely stuff. Never gets old. 1987 it came out. That's already 38 years ago. So if it gives anyone a warm hug, I suspect there's been a lot of hugs over that time period. Savuka, Johnny Clegg, the album Third World Child, the song Great Heart. That song, it makes you feel, some kind of warm embrace, either because I need it badly because of what's happening, or it's just confirming of some good things and good feelings that are already there. Let's have yours, please, on 072 702 1702. I need your hug.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
South Africa's tourism sector is at a crossroads. You remember, of course, last week, Minister Patricia de Lille dissolved the board, the very board she appointed herself. They're calling you Dictator de Lille. Are you?
Let me say there's absolutely no crisis in the tourism sector. We just had one-day execution lab with the full sector. The Tourism Business Council, all of them were there. So there's no crisis.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Business Outsurance, experts in business insurance for pharmacies, convenience stores, beauty salons, and more. Corney,
Business insurance is definitely the best insurance for my business. Bowled out every other insurance house. Honestly, looking at what you need, my installment came down within a day. Definitely the most professional.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Every day, most of us spend an hour planning, prepping, and stressing over what's for dinner. That's around 29,200 hours of your life spent running from grocery store, the kitchen, to the fridge, to the stove. Why not spend that time running for yourself? Or towards something you love doing? And let You Cook handle dinner. Delivered, prepped, and ready to cook. So, choose You Cook and take back some me time. Visit youcook.co.za to find out how.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Hope you're well, man. John, for me, there's a song that every time I listen to it, it honestly feels like that warm hug. It's a song by Gary Barlow. The name of the song is A Million Love Songs.
Against my life, what do you hear? A million words just trying to make the love song of the year. Close your eyes, but don't.
Million Love Songs. Take that with Gary Barlow off their debut studio album. The task we've set for you. Song that feels like a warm hug. Let's hear some more.
Hi, John. So a song that feels like a warm hug to me is Exhale by Whitney Houston. I just love the song. It gives me light-weighted vibes. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes me feel good.
Everyone falls in love sometimes. Sometimes it's wrong. And sometimes it's right. For every win, someone must fail. But there comes a point when we exhale, yeah. Say, shoot, 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 baby. Shoot, shoot.
30 years ago from the movie Waiting to Exhale, Whitney Houston with that number. Julian's on the line from Centurion. Your hug song, Julian, good afternoon.
It's by Wet, Wet, Wet. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes.
Okay, and there have been different versions of that, eh?
No, but the one by Wet, Wet, Wet
is the one.
The best one.
All right, well, let's play it for you and share the hug, Julian, with that suggestion from Centurion.
I feel it in my toe. is all around me, and so the feeling grows. It's written on the wind, it's everywhere I go. Oh, yes it is. So if you really love me, come on and let it show.
Lots and lots of versions of that. First done by a British band called the Trogs. I think REM did that one as well. Time for one more. This is Warren's song that makes him feel like he's getting a warm hug. It's by Train, Hey Soul Sister.
Your lipstick stains on the front lobe of my left side brains. I knew I wouldn't forget you, and so I went and let you blow my mind. Your sweet moonbeam, the smell of you in every single dream I dream. I knew when we collided, you're the one I have decided who's one of my kind. Hey, soul sister.
Hey Soul Sister by Train, bringing to an end today's edition of 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, and the rest of the team. Have a great Tuesday.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the Sara Rail Conference 2025, powering progress, connecting economies. Good evening on your Money Show tonight. Enoch Godongwana takes over